is particularly smart because KT at the end of last season was relying very heavily on Sivir just to run and dive turrets very quickly, and so it does throw a wrench in their more all-in style that they've been favoring ever since Cinderhulk dropped. So
we might see the Gnar for someday. We'll see. You know, have you noticed lately that people have been hovering over Vel'Koz a lot?
No.
I wonder. I've been seeing that in the first few days of the season. People have been hovering over Vel'Koz a lot in Champ Select. I don't think Vel'Koz is going to get picked, but I wonder. I wonder if there's some stuff going on behind the scenes.
I mean, I haven't seen Vel'Koz showing up in anybody's solo queue matches yet, so that would be a bit of a surprise, certainly.
I mean, there's these running jokes, of course, that the players have amongst themselves that result in a lot of hovering over things in picks and bans. I'd love to see the Vel'Koz support come back, but that's just me. Sejuani for score.
Sejuani and Gnar, so a lot of scaling here for KT. Not going to be playing much for the early game, it would seem. Just going for heavy crowd control composition, looking for the team fights in the late game. I mean, this is a terrifying team to face late. Sejuani, Gnar, Azir, so Samsung's going to have to be careful about letting KT escape unscathed in the laning phase.
Well, when you see the poor siege that Sivir brings with what Samsung's putting together, it's probably a smart move to think about going for a really good late-game scaling comp, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, Samsung does have some split-pushing capabilities right now, so
I suppose.
The Gnar, though, against the Hecarim, remember this is 5.8, and Frozen Mallet Black Cleaver can absolutely destroy Hecarim in a 1v1 with Gnar, so that's a really good counter pick on this patch in particular with Black Cleaver the way it is. So it will be Morgana, and it could be a mid Morgana as well. We've seen Morgana as an Azir counter pick in the mid lane in the qualifiers here for Champions, so
I bet it is going to be mid lane.
I would think so.
We'll see. Well, Lucian would certainly be a good pickup for Arrow. Very strong right now.
Also, Samsung, a team that has been known to play a lot of mid Morgana in the past. Not Crown, but Bliss. And it was one of his better champions, so.
It's true, it was his best win rate of anything, I believe.
Yeah, the team knows how to play around it, and they've drawn a lot of Morgana bans in the past.
And Jinx for Arrow. Okay, Jinx has been gaining a lot of popularity in Korea. Since last season, we've seen a lot of people play it. And Arrow's going to go with it this time. Fixer playing Alistar to help protect him, so KT.
That is an incredibly good late game composition. If they can get through the laning phase, they're going to feel really comfortable with their composition. They've got just a crazy tank line and an immense amount of peel for this Jinx. So Samsung absolutely cannot take this into the late game, but I'm worried because I'm not seeing a lot of ways that they're going to be able to put the pressure on early. They picked Nunu here. So that's not going to be able to actually gank that effectively. They could fast push with it like Samsung likes to do. Again, Eve has been playing a lot of Nunu. He'll just walk into Fury's lane, Blood Boil Fury, and then they'll just all auto the turret and then quickly rotate to another lane to take down the first ring of outer towers. That's kind of what they've got going for them. But in the 1v1, I mean, this Gnar is going to be able to just bully out this Hecarim with an early Frozen Mallet or Black Cleaver and wait and prolong the game and stop any kind of split pushing. Cassiopeia will round out the composition, but there's not very much peel for Cassiopeia here either. I'm not really a fan of this draft from Samsung.
It looks a little bit confused. And like we've seen this before, KT just has a way of getting really powerful teams. They've always been great in picks and bans.
Yeah, even when KT wasn't playing well last season, their drafts were always excellent.
Yeah.
Like this is a team that probably has the best draft of any team here in Korea. They really know. It was funny too because they get these great team compositions, but the players, when they actually got their hands on them in the game, didn't seem to understand the win conditions or how to play them out. But that was changing over time, so we'll see what they can do with this one. It's a great team comp.
Yeah, that was a frustrating thing last season. Is they'd get all these amazing teams. You look at it on paper and be like, how did they lose this game? But they'd find a way. But towards the end, things got much better. There's the lineups. As we go into game number one, the first real test for this new Samsung identity here in Champion Summer. And KT, have they kept up in the offseason? Have they maintained that level that we saw at the end of the spring season? And have they, well, preferably improved, added on some more strategies? Looks like they're going to try today.
I really don't know how Samsung is planning to win this game with this particular draft and the lane matchups. If they lane swap, it's good for KT. They've got a ton of protection. They can't dive Alistar in a 2v2, so
well, we'll
interesting time.
Here we go. Welcome to Summoner's Rift, guys. Match for Game 1. KT Rolster versus Samsung Galaxy. Doan Monty here for you today. KT with an extremely powerful late game team.
Yeah, there's just no punishment is the problem. I mean, should just be farming in the mid lane, which is exactly what Samsung wants.
Oh. And they're going to find Cuvée with that boomerang. And Cuvée did not buy any items too, so he'll probably be, he'll probably be going back and picking up a flask, I would imagine. Yeah,
we'll see what he picks. He wants to know whether the lane swap's coming in first, but they are going to try and deep ward right here to detect where the dual lane is going. I mean, I think Samsung, the only way they win this game is if they somehow very quickly kill the turret, and he's going to start Machete.
Wow, okay.
So they're anticipating a lane swap here. That's what he was waiting for. And this will be a very creative double jungle from Samsung. We almost never see a top laner start Machete, even when the lane swap situation arises.
Yeah.
And there he is.
Fury.
Brad Pitt.
Fury.
Yeah, that's the Korean name of the movie.
That's right, but he's not the commander, he's the gun.
So lane swap incoming for KT. And, uh-oh. Looks like KT's calling this one, actually. Samsung definitely does not want to be in a situation where they have a Machete Hecarim in the laning phase. This is not good for Samsung.
Well, how long do you think Cuvée is going to stay in the jungle before he goes to lane? Do you think it's just going to be the blue buff, or do you think he's going to do a few more camps?
I don't know what he's going to do right now. He's going to actually take the blue buff, it would seem. However, Eve just heading right over to the Wolves, so there'll be an early blue buff for Cuvée. And Gnar also not expecting this eventuality, is just trying to take the Raptor camp at the moment. So someday going to take it, recall, and then TP into lane. But this is going to be a really brutal matchup for Cuvée if he has to go into lane.
So it looks like Cuvé's taking the Rift Sculler as well, too. Wow, a lot of damage onto Arrow early on from Fury and Luna. So a good start for them. So yeah, they're doing, and they're taking a really early Dragon, but it looks like Sumday's on to them. Here we go, they've got the Rift Sculler, but here comes Gnar. Someday on the run already, but it's enough to scare away even Cuvée for now.
No, you definitely can't do that. Of course, Sejuani right at the red buff as well, so really nothing you can do. Arrow, a bit of a hard time early, which is pretty natural considering the lane that he's dealing with, but did take some pretty silly trade damage there early on, but he'll get healed up over time by the Alistar, and they won't mind just playing under their turret, at least for the moment.
Luna doing a really good job of zoning out Arrow and Fixer near that turret. And I'm excited about Luna. I hope, I have this feeling like he might be one of the better supports we see. And hopefully I'm not totally wrong about that, but initially it looks pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, well, Eve now taking red. We'll see if he actually makes a gank attempt right here. Nagne's playing onto the top side of the lane where he doesn't really have a whole lot of vision, so he's actually going to back out right now, go pick up some items, and Scuttler, both Scuttlers going over to Eve pretty early on. Cuvée finally returning to lane with a Saber.
Oh, okay. Samsung doing a good job of controlling, or at least staying safe with the vision early on. So do you think the Skirmisher Saber is enough to sort of go toe-to-toe right now with Gnar?
Nope. Yeah, he may have some issues right now. Fortunately, he's going to push out that wave, and Gnar couldn't trade right there due to how many minions were in the wave. But yeah, it's a tough lane against the Gnar anyway, and it's going to be even tougher when he doesn't have very much sustain at the moment. He's actually going to go back and do the Gromp right now, so not even really going to deal with that because someday finding a way to maybe freeze this, looks like.
He's trying. Meanwhile, Nagne really getting bullied by Crown a bit in the mid lane, but not too far behind on CS. Looks like Crown's going for more of a slower scaling build this time around.
Yeah, might as well just play it safe right now.
Yep.
I don't want to be too risky at the moment. Someday going to pop away from Kuve right there.
And here's where it seems like it's going to get kind of tough for Kuve.
So early Sightstone from Eve. Eve likes to do this build, as many Nunus do. Just machete straight into Sightstone, get those wards down. They can make some plays on the map, but there's not a lot of opportunity for them here. It's just KT can play so defensively with their composition that actually scoring some kills in the early game is going to be really, really difficult.
Seems like all they kind of need to do is survive. And I'll score going deep into the enemy jungle for some counter jungling, or not. He's kind of checking it out. He attacked, but looks like they might want to dive Kuve.
Yeah, and they don't really know where Nunu is, but they know he's not in that side of the jungle at the very least right now. So he's going to go back, try and hit up those wolves again. They want to stop Kuve from farming the jungle with that saber. So Score's right to be going in there right now. Because he's trying to counter jungle so that Kuve is punished more for starting this machete than he would be otherwise. Kuve already having burned through all of his potion as well. Arrow actually hit by a binding right there.
Yeah, Fury's been really good about skill shots in general in the few games that we've seen him in. And what's been impressing me about this guy more than anything is that he uses his stuff to zone really, really well.
He just denied the cannon minion right there really nicely.
Earlier he threw a dark binding that forced Arrow up and gave Fury a couple auto attacks on him too. So there's like really cool subtle stuff that's going on in this 2v2 that's giving Samsung this edge.
Well, Samsung always had, even with Wraith, a very strong laning phase from their duo lane. So it's nice to see that's continuing with Luna. Kuve going to take the Gromp again.
Yeah.
But this, because of what Sejuani is doing, what Score is doing, it's actually forcing Eve into the bottom side of the jungle just to protect the farm so Kuve can get it right now. So what Score is doing is really intelligent in terms of making his opponent play to him. Crown actually taking an ult right there. There's the flash.
Flash ult, and Score getting there. Can they maybe pick up a kill on Crown? No flash on Crown, but they're not able to catch him. He had the cleanse anyway, so. Oh, more damage onto Fury. Fury low, Arrow in trouble here. Here comes Someday, but that's first blood for Luna. Trying to back off now, Someday, and Fixer chasing. We'll see if he has to burn that flash. Looks like it might be pretty close. Yeah, there we go. He'll get away either way. So in the end, that 2v2 gets Samsung first blood.
Wow, so that was just a slight timing error right there. If Someday had been there half a second earlier, that probably would have gone a very different way, but Arrow barely dies in that exchange, and Samsung gets away. They do have to use every single summoner to do so, though, so Score may have a nice attempt here at a gank.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Arrow still having flash after dying.
Well, he was bound, so he didn't really have a chance to use that ability.
I wonder what his health was at before the fight began. Probably not too high.
And he also thought that Gar would be there just a little bit earlier. It was very, very close timing.
Well, nice binding on the Fixer. Samsung trying to get some influence around Dragon here. They do a lot of damage to Fixer. Fury gets pushed back there.
Score is 6 now.
Yeah.
There's a possibility of something happening. This would be a pretty risky Dragon for them to take, especially since Fury doesn't have his ultimate yet. Someday has TP. Someday also a level up, and look at that CS difference as well. Already 25 CS in the lead after Samsung decided to buy that machete. Now, it would be a hard lane anyway, but it's just even harder when you have to start with that saber. Really brutal. Decided to go for a cloth armor as his next item, and we see the Giant's Belt coming in already, so I assume this will be a Frozen Mallet from Someday.
Yep. More positioning around the Dragon. And looks like all the wards for Samsung are going to get taken out. And KT slowly gaining a bit of position back around the Baron Pit in terms of vision. Or Baron Pit, Dragon Pit.
Instantly clearing out that pink ward as well. So again, KT just denying a lot of the Dragon pressure right here and keeping Eve where they can control him at the moment. So KT is in a really good position right now. Yeah, they gave up that first blood, but the fact the Dragon hasn't gone down yet is very important because Samsung needs to have some sort of timer on this game, and threatening a 4 or 5 stack Dragon would be a great way for them to do it, but without that, it's going to be quite difficult for them. Kuve, a little bit of damage right there. Someday might go in on this.
Maybe.
Nope, just going to pick up his house and walk away.
Save that one for later. Put it in some Tupperware, you know. Make sure it stays fresh. And maybe a gank on Crown here. He's got cleanse, but no flash at the moment.
Yeah, and Nagne's cleanse just came off cooldown as well. He traded his cleanse for the flash of Crown earlier.
You know, if we go back to that little skirmish near the dragon fight a while ago, if Samsung hadn't been down in levels on most of their team, they might have been able to fight that, I feel like.
Yeah, maybe, but still would be challenging. They pursued Fixer a little bit too deep and kind of got chunked for it, so. Okay, well, Arrow a little bit behind in terms of CS, but not too bad considering that he's been in a pretty tough matchup so far this game.
Wow, that is serious wave clear.
This is, so somebody getting close to that Frozen Mallet as well, and at that point he's just going to be able to lock Kuve into lane and prevent any team fights. So KT's goal right now just is to prolong the laning phase as long as they possibly can and keep the pressure onto this Hecarim so he's unable to make plays and someday can grow his lead even more than the 35 CS that he's already got. And from there, should be kind of a cakewalk with this team composition to a win. So Samsung has to be more aggressive right now. They need to do something, or they're going to just have the life slowly squeezed out of them in this game.
Well, looks like they're trying to get a bit of vision around Dragon at the moment. They've got the Rift Scuttler at least. But Kuve, I feel like he hasn't really had the opportunities too to go into his own jungle and do some farming. He's been taking a lot of those camps too, so even when Kuve's been pushed back, he hasn't been able to go and sustain that way either. Yeah,
it's not looking good for Kuve this game. They were anticipating just not having this lane swap, being able to abuse that machete, but you could see it's a smart idea, but there is that risk that you end up in the 2v2 and the 1v1 and are super punished for it. And it stretched this matchup, which was already questionable. And
Fixer and Arrow. Fixer walks into the brush, takes a little bit of damage, pop that ultimate, and without that ult, KT may have a hard time contesting this dragon if Samsung decides to try for it.
Yeah, take a look right now. Put a face check right there. They're not punished too hard for it. I do think it was wise of Fixer to go ahead and use the Unbreakable Will really. Oh, geez, this matchup is just a disaster. Kuve could die at any time. He's playing this pretty risky.
Suppose you have to, though, huh? At this point, if you don't take risks, you're just going to keep falling farther behind.
All right, well, he's down the bottom side again, but more and more wards put down by KT. Kuve goes back to base, has to home guard his way out of it. Still going to lose some more CS on that turret. Not too good for Kuve.
But yeah, KT has done such a good job of just having enough presence around the Dragon Pit that they don't need to take it. They don't need to fight over it. They just need to make sure that Samsung doesn't get it.
They're playing this composition so well.
Yeah.
I really like, especially what we've seen Score do this game in terms of controlling the jungle, trying to minimize Kuve's ability to farm as best he can.
Yeah.
And just shut him down. They know where their lead is, and they're running with it.
And they're not trying to get kills or fight or anything like that. They're just trying to prevent Samsung from getting those.
Just have to farm right now. That's all they got to do. Just coast with their late game team composition.
True enough. Decent little CS lead for Fury in bot lane. It's still kind of tough for Arrow, but again, you know, if you live long enough, it doesn't matter. So we might be in for a bit of a long one.
Yep, that's KT's goal right here. You know, someday, look, he's not even pushing down the turret right now. He's just trying to freeze so he can draw Kuve out and continue to auto-harass him as much as possible. So this is just stalling from KT.
Yeah.
And I think this is a really positive development for KT. Again, we talked about in the early part of last season how they had so many problems playing out their composition. I mean, it was pretty ugly when they tried to play certain compositions that required a lot of teamwork and power spike timing coordination with the team, because when they played things like Juggernaut. They really didn't do too well with it, but this is a much more methodical KT roster team that we're seeing in this game. And not only that, but it's a differentiation from their style, which was that all-in style that we saw towards the end of the spring season. Now they're just playing a very patient late-game team-fighting team, which is not something we've seen from them.
Oh, they tried to go for the Dragon, but KT was right there again, and they get the top lane turret. Kube mixing it up with Someday a bit in top, and has to run away almost immediately.
Yep, just delayed the Dragon right there. They're not even going to do it. Just push them off and take the advantage that they had by winning out in this top lane and getting that global gold. Kube continuously harassed in this lane.
It has not been easy for him. But yeah, I mean, if you think about it, KT, they didn't make the playoffs last season. They came very, very close, but they've had a long time to practice, develop new strategies, kind of hone everything.
Yeah, like 3 weeks now or so.
Yeah, so
a month,
so
maybe.
far, it's looking okay.
Nice bind. Delaying that ward being taken out just a little bit. Someday is now fighting with Kube at the red buff.
Oh, that's right. Kube getting very, very low. Someday, though, on the run, he ran out of Meganar, and here comes Nagne to help out. Kube getting low. Someday over the wall. Oh, man, the Krugs helped him finish him off.
Someday didn't actually have to flash right there. Kube's ultimate activated the Krugs, which got him killed in the end.
Someday is the king of the Krugs. Oh, meanwhile, a kill for a crown. A little bit of revenge for Samsung there.
Oops.
Yep, well, so a kill on both sides, both top laners going down, and in the end, the tiniest of gold leads for Samsung, so things still pretty much even.
And there we go. Frozen Mallet now complete.
Yep, wow, Fixer just still isn't very tanky right now, so it's easy for him to take a lot of damage in these trades.
Yeah, but not going to worry too much about that. Can always just heal up slowly over time with his E.
True. Well, Crown's been able to maintain a nice little CS lead throughout this mid lane against Nagne. And when he starts ramping up, things might get a little bit dicey.
Thing is, the problem with Cassiopeia here is never going to get close enough to deal damage. How do you get close enough? You're going to get headbutted out, you're going to get Azir ulted out, or Gnar ulted out. Almost nothing you can do with Cassiopeia to consistently DPS against KT's composition.
Wow, look at this again. KT pushing Samsung away from Dragon, and now it's their turn. They're like, all right, finally.
To consistently DPS against KT's composition.
Wow, look at this again. Away from Dragon, and now it's their turn. They're like, all right, finally, we're going to go for this. Someday zoning a little bit, trying to control that choke. They've got Samsung kind of backed into a bit of a corner there. Meanwhile, Nagne in a little bit of trouble against Crown. Dragon getting lower. KT, they really want it. Can Samsung take it? No, not quite. And now the fight begins. Kube coming from the side. Luna gets taken out almost immediately, and Fury on the run. That's a double kill right off the bat for Arrow. A slow onto Kube. We'll see if maybe they can catch up. Crown didn't even get to be a part of that fight.
It's just nothing you can do against that amount of crowd control with Samsung's composition. Yeah, they've got a couple of spell shields here, but there's simply too much, too many stuns, too many disengage tools available to KT. I mean, Arrow, this is the dream composition for protect the AD carry.
It really is. This is about as like perfectly meta as they can get, this KT comp, and it's nice to see them finally winning with good compositions instead of just getting them, you know?
Yeah, that was pretty disappointing to see.
There's another tower down in bot lane going down. A very undisappointing thing for KT Rolster.
Yeah, look at that. Another objective, Dragon straight into the bottom turret. And if we take a look at this one again, so Nagne getting harassed right here, and see Crown, interesting. Can actually get autoed into that situation. But look at all the traps now. They've got them right there, straight into the ult from Sejuani and the rocket. Luna tries to do something but gets killed before his bind can land right there.
So are you ready for a season? Well, never mind. Fight down in the tri-brush. Luna getting low again. He got trapped on the wrong side of that one. Just trying to lead his opponents on a merry chase here. There he goes. Another kill for Arrow. Oh, Arrow popping his rocket at the end there. Whoops.
It was a celebration rocket. It's the
right.
the fireworks after you get the kill, though.
It's a big finale. Rockets. I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about you this season, Monty.
Why?
Because traditionally when KT teams have started to be good, you'd get really excited, and then they'd always disappoint you. And I just don't want to see you go through that again, Monte Cristo.
KT won Summer last year.
Yeah, but you admittedly you said that was won by the worst team to ever win champions.
It was, that's true.
So that was like that scene in The Matrix where the person's like, not like this, not like this. Or it's like when, you know, Anakin becomes like a powerful Force user, but for the dark side,
I'm okay with that.
it's what you wanted, just not how you wanted it.
So another turret goes down in the mid lane. I mean,
all
Samsung,
three
look at
outers.
that. They basically, Score was just distracting them over that blue buff right there. He got the blue buff anyway, and there was no one to wave clear in the mid lane. So easy kill on that turret with Azir and Jinx. I mean, this is such a
Crazy.
good siege composition as well. Azir and Jinx are going to be able to mow through towers faster than just about any other mid and AD pairing, really. So this is pretty dominant from KT.
Well, Arrow's been able to get a lot of kills this game too, so he's starting to get exceptionally fed. You know, for a team that really needs to scale into the late game, Arrow's got a very nice head start. At this rate, they might not really have to wait that long.
Yeah, and he's gotten a lot of that local gold too from the turrets.
Yep.
Turret kills 2 of them, and then the 3 kills after giving up that first blood, and he's not even that far behind in terms of CS anymore either.
Local gold totally sounds like some like Midwestern indie rock band or something like that. Yeah.
Wow, KT just going after all of the buffs right now. Total control over Samsung's jungle. Score taking both buffs away.
Wow. Well, the map is KT's right now. Samsung needs to do something pretty special if they want to
That
have a
pressure
chance
too,
to come back.
just popping that Azir turret to prevent easy movement across the mid lane from Samsung,
Right.
and bottle them up in their base so that they can apply pressure to that red buff, safely walk in there without fear of a flank coming in. Nicely done.
If you look at Kube right now, he got his enchantment, but all he has besides that is just a phage.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Kuve. And there's the
Yeah.
phage, so it will be Frozen Ballad Black Cleaver on this Gnar. That is, there's just nothing Kuve could do. Honestly, Kuve should probably just be building tank right now, because there's no way, even with Cinder Hulk and Trinity Force, that he's going to be able to outduel this Gnar.
Yeah, he just needs to try to disrupt during team fights if they get a chance, but I don't think team fights are really going to go Samsung's way at this point anyway.
I understand that the thinking is that he needs damage so that he could kill Jinx, but there's so many other, with Azir as well, they do have, KT has 2 high damage threats. And how is this Hecarim even going to get in? Because he's going to get bounced out by either Alistar or by Azir as soon as he tries to flank. There's, I mean, this is such an insane outpick in the drafting phase by KT. There's so few options for Samsung in terms of these, not only the laning phase, but these team fights. Really difficult.
Well, someday, moseying down to the mid lane. And we'll see if he can take out this ward in a moment. But it's another one of those parts of the game where KT can just kind of sit back and relax a little bit, wait for that next dragon, just keep the pressure on, and just not allow Samsung to...
global gold, but they have to probably be 5K in the lead, and even in order to even think about team fighting KT at this stage. And they're down, and this pressure onto their turret. I mean, Kuve's there, but he's getting chipped out by Arrow.
Whoa!
And they just want this turret right now.
A little bit too close to get the damage he needed with that rocket.
Someday forcing Fury's ultimate to be used as well. That's not going to be available if they even are thinking about going for this dragon. Someday has TP down, but it will be back up.
Oh, here he
About
comes.
10 seconds. So they're delaying dragon until Someday can have some presence around the pit with that summoner spell. So here we go. KT going to start it right as the TP comes off cooldown.
Yeah, they've got wards too, so they can see what angle Samsung's coming from. And it doesn't even look like Samsung's going to try to contest this. Nope, just letting that one go. And so 2 pretty easy dragons for KT so far this game. And now the wait begins again.
Well, they can do the Baron really fast. And they have good vision over that area at the moment. And again, they have great siege, so that's what they're going to do. They're going to ride this wave in with the Azir turret behind them and just start turning up the pressure. They can dive if they want to.
Will they, though?
No, well, I don't think
so.
there's just, you can see Nagne has that Luden's Echo. I'm not a big fan of Luden's Echo on Azir. I think it's pretty bad, but it does provide damage in this situation.
True. You can bounce it a little bit farther than you could normally attack. But Samsung continuously just bottled up on their own side of the map. And if you look at the wards, if you look at the camps, it's all being taken by KT right now. And
this has been such a controlled game from KT, with the exception of that first blood that Samsung managed to get due to the strength of their duo lane. KT has just dictated the tempo of this game almost entirely due to some good jungle pathing from Score.
Well, Score may be able to get them something else in a moment. He's really well positioned to throw that ult in, but without the Mega Gnar, oh, they're going to try something, it looks like. Fury already taking a lot of damage before the fight really even begins. Kube comes in, gets pushed back immediately, gets over the Emperor's Divide. Meanwhile, Arrow has to flash to back away, but still able to get tons of damage done. And is Score actually going to live? Eve turning away at the last moment, but someday with the flash, can he get the slow? He's going to turn, and I don't think any amount of snowballs is going to do the job there.
There's nothing they could do.
Wow.
I mean, Score wasn't even positioned. Score missed his ult right there as well. And yet there were so many disengaged tools that Hecarim could not do hardly anything at all to Arrow. And then the cleanup from Someday as well with that frozen mallet. There's just no way that Eve can escape.
Yep. And so, more of the same. I mean, the gold lead isn't that much, but you can see that it's not about the gold. It's about the champions and kind of what they bring in this case for KT. Samsung really is going to have a hard time fighting this.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
They have to hope for that they get a lot of miracle picks right here so they can fight 5v4 or something like that. But they don't even really have the best composition to acquire picks with in the first place. They lack hard CC. So, yeah, this is...
They lack CC.
It's a pretty hopeless situation. I mean, it was going to be a tough row to hoe from Champ Select, but now...
Oh, wow, goodbye. Huh. Well, that was easy. KT just waltzing about and getting kills at will at this point. Kills at will. Arrow is doing exceptionally well, and he probably has a good amount of money right now, too.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he has the Shiv only, so
yeah.
He'll be looking at a pretty major purchase, I should think, coming up next, especially if they can get this turret down as well. Fixer just zoning out on the outside. And look how fast these towers are going down to Azir and Jinx.
Yeah, it's just a slow, grinding death for Samsung right now. I mean, I know Crown is playing Cassiopeia, but KT is the big snake this time, squeezing the life
the
out of their
Anaconda.
opponents. That's right. They are the Anaconda. And like the cool, like, actual animal anaconda, not that like bad movie from the 90s. Which did have a big anaconda in it. But oh man, Luna pops that black shield, trying to get away here. They use the scrying orb to keep vision on him. And oh, the rocket, plus a little bit of damage from Score, just enough. He used his ult there as well. Crowd pushed in with that Emperor's Divide, and Arrow picks up another one. Yeah, it's getting to be a little bit of showtime now for KT.
Oh, wow, that was a really brutal Emperor's Divide, just pushing him straight into the rest of KT. Kube's going to get a turret for that, but Baron will go over to KT Rolster.
I think they're happy to trade that at this point. KT can probably use this Baron and get an inhibitor out of it at this point. Maybe go down and deal with bot lane first, but KT in an extremely good position here at around 30 minutes, dragging up in another minute 20. And Samsung again, like, what do you do as Samsung? Do you just kind of take the time to figure out what you're going to do next game, I guess?
A lot of
as we see Luna die here.
Yeah, a lot of missed skill shots right there. The rocket does connect, the Glacial Prison does not, but look at that. That's a beautiful Azir play. He bent that soldier really well to get that long-range engage down and then popped him straight into the rest of the team. Great Azir play from Nagne. I mean, it was gratuitous, but it was mechanically well executed.
Sometimes you just have to show off, you know? Sometimes you have to bring a little bit of flair. I like it. I'm totally fine with this. Well, it was a good run, Samsung.
I mean, look at this too. Arrow doesn't even have to buy Armor Pen at this point because Kube went for that Trinity Force. There's not a Frozen Heart completed yet from Samsung, so he's not even really dealing with a lot of armor in the first place. So getting that % armor reduction, not going to do him a whole lot of favors. Might as well just get a BF Sword and a QSS on the off chance that you're hit by a Binding or a Petrifying Gaze. And
pretty much.
Someday split push is going to be pretty much indefensible at this point with that Black Cleaver and the Mallet.
Well, this was a game that...
it's also ridiculous, too, because that Black Cleaver enables this Jinx even more. Once that Shred starts coming down from the physical damage from Gnar, it's just going to help out that Jinx. And with such little armor, that flat penetration that it's going to give is going to do a lot of work. And here's another Dragon.
Yep, Dragon number 3 now for KT. Completely unopposed. And as a Baron buff,
I'm interested to see how Samsung's going to react in the next game, because I don't think you can play... when we were looking at Samsung in the qualifiers, and we looked at them playing Spenu, I was curious, did they have another strategy besides kind of let Fury take over, play Nunu, allow him to quickly push towers down? And this is, KT has picked a composition where they never really had an opportunity due to the wave clear and the fact that they have these big tank champions that are not very easy to dive.
it seems like Samsung's picks were just very reactionary last game, and they tried to just like stay safe, take things away from KT, but in doing so, they sort of picked them into something that they were less comfortable with, I think, and gave KT something that was obviously really easy to just kind of be patient with.
I think KT was also really prepared for how Samsung was going to play this game, and so they had a really good prep coming into this match so that they would be pretty much unfast pushable.
Seems that way. Well, the pushing seemed pretty fast actually for KT. Here they go. They're going to try to engage, freeze onto Eve immediately. Kube getting in the back lines onto Jinx will be able to do anything. Meanwhile, big Gnar ultimate from Someday, locking up a lot of members of Samsung. Fixer picks up the kill there, and here they come now for KT. Fury still with some health left. Arrow took some damage from Kube, but none of it is just enough. You know, they're able to sort of do what they want to, but they're not able to really finish the job. But KT, I don't think they're going to have any trouble finishing the job here at the moment. Crown pops at Zhonya's. The score takes a bit of damage from the turret. There's an easy kill. KT very low. Whoa, there's a double kill for Fury. So overstaying their welcome a bit. Score running into that mid lane turret. He's going to just give Fury a penta, apparently. Fury does not have flash, does not have heal. He won't be able to chase, unfortunately. Oh, a kill on the way out for Nagne. Luna getting a little bit too close to the wall.
Yeah, overplaying their hand a little bit right there, trying to close the game a tad too soon.
Yeah.
But here we go. Here is the home guard by
Nagne.
Nagne.
Kube finds him, and Nagne trying to escape. He's getting solo, and that's an easy pickup for Kube. Oh, meanwhile, wow, score with a snipe onto Fury. This game's getting a little bit silly at this point, because now we're going to see score get taken out by Kube and Eve, I guess.
Yep, just getting slowly corralled in right now.
Running back and forth over the wall, up right into Kube.
I would have tried to die to Eve.
Yeah, no kidding.
But Score obviously not too worried. Has a smile on his face right there. Banner of Command for Luna.
Why
Interesting pickup this late in the game.
Yeah, I don't think Banner of Command is going to help too much on the Samsung side of things. Oh, well.
Well, this game's going to last a little bit longer now that the shenanigans have started from both sides. But at least Fury got a triple kill. That was exciting for us.
Yeah. Well, man, if he had his summoners, I bet he could have gotten a penta out of that. That was actually really close.
Yeah, indeed. Very close. Well, no more Baron buff. Are they going to wait for the next one is the question. I think they've got sufficient siege that they should be able to take care of this quite easily. Nagne going to go wrangle himself a blue buff.
Blue buff wrangler, is that his official title?
That's right.
See him at the end of films. This guy who wrangles the blue buff.
The Cowboy Azir skin incoming.
You see things in movies like that where it's like rabbit wrangler at the end. You're like, do you really need to wrangle rabbits? You more just kind of chase them around a little bit and then pick them up.
Well, you have to come up with a different title then, though. If you don't like rabbit wrangler, what is it?
Rabbit keeper?
Okay.
Rabbit trainer even? Fine, but wrangler?
How about rabbit lord?
Rabbit lord? Rabbit master.
The rabbit master.
King of rabbits. That sounds like somebody's title from Game of Thrones, but I think it should work for movies too. You can't be a rabbit wrangler. You can wrangle like horses and like lions or something like that. Cattle, yep. You know, any big animal. that's potentially dangerous. But rabbits, I don't know.
You're saying that rabbits are unwranglable?
I just think they're not dangerous. I mean, you get bit by rabbits, but it's not that bad. It's like, ow, he bit me.
Except for that one in Monty Python. That one's pretty dangerous.
That's not a real rabbit, Monty. That's just a movie. Nobody wrangled that rabbit. I mean, it was a real rabbit, but not really that violent. Yeah. This game's sure getting a bit Camelot at this point, though. It's a silly place. We're getting to be in a very silly place in this game.
It's going to stretch out a little bit. KT actually could have probably just sieged up the bottom side right now. They can pretty much dive a turret whenever they want as well.
Yep.
They're going to be as methodical as can be.
It's like one of them's typing like SKTS forever in all chat or something. All right, so now another Baron.
They're just going to wait for the dragon.
I was going to say, I was like, oh wait, dragon in 35 seconds, guys. We don't want to end it yet. Pad the stats. That's right. But the KDA stats aren't doing well when you give Fury a triple kill. Getting mixed messages here, KT.
They really could just face tank this tower right now. There's
Yep.
no need to play this cautiously with the large lead that they have. Someday figured out how to walk within turret range.
Oh, but then he got scared. It's okay, we got time. I'm not doing anything tomorrow, are you? All right, good.
I'm casting more League tomorrow,
right.
Della.
Oh, yeah. Well, another inhibitor is going to get taken out here pretty soon. Samsung with a chance for one last-ditch effort fight.
That's right. Don't block the binding on your AD carry. Dodge it while your AD is attacking the inhibitor and let him eat the binding.
It's the AD's carry. It's the AD's job to dodge that, man.
He was attacking the inhibitor.
He can move. He can attack move. Arrow's just lazy, man. That's what it comes down to. He could have sidestepped that. Oh, here we go. Perhaps a final. They looked like they were setting up for it, but Samsung not quite following through, and Score coming in with that ult onto Eve. Meanwhile, Cuvée into the backline's pushed away immediately by that Emperor's Divide. There goes Luna. Nice try with the ult there, but it's not going to work. Nice headbutt pulverize onto the rest of Samsung. A couple easy kills coming in for Nagne. Gets the double there, and Crown, after the Zonias, gets immediately taken apart by Someday, and there we go. All inhibitors dead. Check. Oh, they left the one in top lane, but it looks like they're going to end it anyway. There we go. Fury, last man standing. There goes the Nexus. KT with a pretty smooth win here in game one.
That's what we call a cakewalk, though. If I'm Samsung right now, I'm going to try and all in on this Kalista. I want something that can have some really good early presence to get the Kalista rolling. And we know that Eve is a great Nidalee player, although Nidalee obviously not too present in the current meta. Could get Lee Sin as well. We've been seeing more Lee Sin in the qualifiers in particular. So,
well, you've certainly played enough of that last season, and he did have some pretty incredible plays on Lee Sin as well.
His Lee Sin mechanics are very good, so you don't have to worry about that from Eve.
Fizz, really? Is that? Are we sure that's Crown in there, or is that Bliss after all? Morgana, and then okay, there we go.
And
Fizz.
They may be taking this Morgana mid again as a possible way to help deal with the LeBlanc pick, but they should take Sivir right here and not Maokai because they want the double spell shields. They want to do the EDG. Oh, they already have Kalista. What am I talking about? So they can't do it. But the Maokai, good for that damage reduction as well. So trying to go super tanky against the LeBlanc pick to avoid that burst. And there could be the Urgot.
Or the Vayne. What do you think?
I think I am not a fan of Arrow's Vayne in general.
Well, Urgot seems like a pretty good choice to get in there and use a position reverser on Kalista if you can.
Yeah.
Seems like it'd be kind of tough, but...
Yes, Draven.
Oh, boy.
Actually, Draven would not be bad here in terms of countering lane bully with lane bully, and we know how good Arrow's Draven is.
It's a good point.
So you have a bit of a showdown, a snowball showdown in a duo lane, but they're not up for it today. They're going to be Hecarim instead. Hecarim, a good way to deal with Kalista overall, and taking that Urgot as well for the tankiness.
Yep, so KT certainly with the ability so far to dive in onto this Kalista. But Samsung has some pretty good options to stop that from happening. Of course, you know, all of these, Maokai, Morgana, Alistar, all of these are good at disrupting engages. And so Samsung, so far, I mean, it seems to me like if they lock in this Alistar, the pick seems fairly good.
Both of these comps are pretty low sustained damage, however. Especially if they go for a mid lane Morgana, that Kalista has to have an advantage, or else they have pretty much no damage whatsoever.
Would you really want to, yeah, I was going to say Vi does not seem like it would work, but Lee Sin, I think that works. Kick people away, kick them into the other teammates.
I think you go Lee Sin, Alistar here and really try and make the kills happen, and that's what they're going to do. So pretty big setup here in the early game, and they've got a lot of opportunities to dive this Urgot right after he gets tier in the duo lane, especially since he's not going to have that Alistar to help protect him on the dives. They're going to have to go for something else.
You know, Bard would actually work pretty well here, because if you can lock up anyone that would prevent you from getting onto Kalista and then get onto King behind through walls, Magical Journey could be really useful for that. So I actually really like the Bard in this. If they lock it in, they won't, but I want to see Bard, and I feel like it could have worked well there.
I think Braum is definitely a better pick just to play safely.
Only because people aren't good enough with Bard yet.
Well, Bard doesn't help your get tower dove problems here, and that's what they're really concerned with. They see Lee Sin, they see Alistar, they see Kalista. They are diving this Urgot, and they need a way to stop it.
So you just ult yourself, and then they're under turret, just getting hit without being able to hit you. Bard answers, man.
Yeah, well,
Bard answers.
It's nice if they wait to dive you until you hit level 6.
Then you come out of it and you tether them to the turret, so they get hit even more. So Braum, he was a champion that starts with B, but the wrong one.
Yeah, very tanky bottom lane, and someday going to be responsible for dealing a lot of damage right here. Wouldn't surprise me to see him go do the Cinderhulk Trinity Force build that we saw Kuve attempt to execute that last game, except I don't think that someday is going to be going for Machete first in this one. And
to block things with the shield, jump onto Arrow and give him a different shield. Like, this Urgot just isn't going to die.
Well, and how do you dive it now?
Yeah,
they tried to take away the Alistar. Obviously, Alistar, Kalista, pretty good in terms of throwing the Alistar into the enemy team, but Braum is going to provide the necessary tankiness that will make diving this Urgot more difficult. So it's going to be about execution in the early game for Samsung, because if they go even again, KT is going to rapidly outscale them.
And here we go. Welcome once again to Summoner's Rift, Samsung versus KT Rolster. And Samsung getting pretty crushed in game number 1, coming back with what could be a more useful composition this time around, but KT has giant enemy Crab God. That just means you win. That's my analysis for you there.
Everybody just quit the game right now. It's over.
No, it's still going to be entertaining.
I picked the Crab God skin.
Spoiler alert. Crab God is in the game. Yep.
Okay, well, looks like we are going to have a lane swap here from KT, not wanting to get into that 2v2 and put themselves at risk, and they should be in a really quite good position right now. There is a Crab God.
Beautiful. Stunning.
Majestic.
That's right. Pretty hot.
No. You and I have very different tastes, so I'll just leave it at that. I'm not here to criticize you and your tastes, but
hey,
you know,
crab's delicious. You're telling me you don't like crab?
I never said that. You're just now making stuff up.
No, I'm taking the conversation in a direction that helps me. Can't you see this is happening? That's the trick there. Well, Fixer trying to harass Kuve and Eve here a little bit while they try to get the Gromp.
This is really annoying for Fixer to do, but Samsung paying the price for starting out on the weak side right there. The freeze is in. He really can't pursue this too much, especially with Urgot threatening from the brush in the river, and he's just going to continue to throw out.
Oh boy.
Some CC someday is coming.
Here we go, and they may be able to just muscle this blue buff away, or at least delay things quite a bit.
They have no idea that someday is
scores here too. Oh yeah, they're gonna get this fixer. There's a lot of damage. Kube knocked back, and that is gonna be first blood for Arrow. How about that? KT right off the bat.
And that's why it's risky.
Oh boy.
To lane swap jungle on the weak side, because the support can just walk in and ruin your day. And then if the enemy started on their strong side, like we saw Score and Someday doing, and Score and Someday started in different camps. Remember, Someday actually hit level 2 off of the Raptors, so they had 2 level 2 champions to deal with, while Kuve and Eve were both level 1.
Yeah. And they're also...
Well, Eve was level 2, but that was it.
Full Score and Someday are taking the jungle now as well, too. Kuve walking in. He might be in a little bit of trouble here.
Kuve.
Bye, Kuve. Kuve's like, yep, our jungles are gone. Jungle camps are gone.
I confirm that our jungle is gone.
Jungle camps are not here. Not anymore. So, pretty rough start for Samsung. And that may be indicative of the rest of this game. Again, I mean, giant enemy crab god. He got first blood. He's taking down a turret really fast. Skin to win.
Well, this is going to open up a dragon opportunity here for Samsung at the very least. They did see the 2 players from KT inside their jungle after that kill went down, so they're going to know that they have a lot of safety in taking this dragon. Not really any way that KT can deal with it, so at least they're going to be able to take some sort of an advantage after that rather unfortunate start early on in this game.
Sure.
And Nagne pushed up under turret right here as well. Of course, Morgana having that nice wave clear on the Tormented Soil, so can be a bit difficult for...
Wow. I feel like Samsung's responding really well to this. Taking the dragon and now going in and taking the enemy blue buff as well, too.
And we'll see what actually KT wants to do here. They could try and fast push this turret. For the moment, though, they're happy just denying Kuve. Someday with that smite is going to have an easier time, of course, farming outside of the lane. Freeze down in the bottom for Samsung. And so KT's response is just push down this turret as fast as possible. That's why Score and Someday are up there on the top side again, just to make sure that Kuve isn't going to get any experience from this turret whatsoever, or from the creep wave whatsoever. And they're going to be able to take out this turret on this wave and deny a whole hell of a lot in the meantime.
Wow.
Someday has a level advantage now as well.
Yeah, this is going to be another pretty good 1v1 for Someday once this tower goes down and he can swap back up.
Yeah, this is pretty much the worst possible thing that could have happened to Samsung. Again, they had to get this early advantage in order to have a lot of hope in terms of winning this game. And the fact that Arrow was able to get so much gold early on is just going to accelerate his growth and his tankiness. Notice they reversed the wave right there on the turret, so Someday is going to be able to get some safe farm in the top side, while Kuve is going to have to overextend and put himself vulnerable to ganks. There's a lot of wards already from KT in the top side, making it even more difficult. And Eve just hasn't been able to do anything this game after that quick invade from KT Rolster.
Yeah, they were able to get some good wards down in KT's side of the bottom jungle at least, but both Eve and Kuve are just really far behind right now. It's going to be tough.
Here comes Kuve, but Rek'Sai already there in the enemy jungle. They want to make this gank work.
Well, it looks like they'll be able to. I mean, there's no turret for Kuve to go back to. He's
Level
fighting
advantage.
with Someday right now. Yeah, Kuve's got his flash, but he's going to be so far behind. Score coming over the wall. There's a knock-up as well. There's just no way Kuve gets out of this one, not even bothering to flash. He knows he's dead, and that's a kill early on for Someday.
They tried to get a
Oh,
ward. Score went through the unwarded choke point into the jungle and took the long way around, so there really wasn't anything Kuve could do. He really needs help from Eve to get control over that side of the jungle, but he's again just finding himself falling further and further behind Someday for the second game in a row.
Yep.
And, I mean, it is risky for him to walk up given that circumstance, and it was risky for him to start on the side of the jungle that he did in the lane swap, but it's great punishment here from KT Rolster to keep him down.
Yeah, KT's still looking extremely good this game, too. And so it'll be interesting to see how Samsung is able to kind of move on from this, if they'll be able to at least be sort of a middle-of-the-pack team. It's still so early to kind of speculate, I guess, but certainly having trouble with KT. And KT doesn't just look like they maintained what they had at the end of last season. They really look like they got a lot better.
Yeah, their play is much more clean in the series we've seen tonight. Again, this isn't the top flight of competition in this league by any means, but Samsung has definitely improved, and KT keeping up and just playing with a patience and a forethought that we didn't see for most of last season from these players.
Yeah. Wow, Sunday's so far ahead right now. Here's Luna. Are they maybe going to try to dive here? They know he's there. Oh, score comes over. Luna knocks him away. They try for the slow from Fixer, but they can't land it. Dragon up in a little less than 2 minutes as well, too. So we'll see if maybe Samsung can claim the second one. It'll help them maintain a bit of relevance.
So Samsung did a good job right there, just making sure that Kuve was safe so he could push the wave into the turret and break this freeze that KT was engineering. So nice help from Eve and from Luna on that one. But Sunday's level 6, Kuve's level 4. This is a pretty big disaster at the moment.
It's going to be tough to fight that. Eve's coming up too, and I think that kind of tips off Sunday. Well, they had a ward actually, so they could see him go through that tri-brush.
Yep, they have nice wards. They know everything that's going on right now. Sunday just trying to hold the wave in as dangerous a position against Kuve as he possibly can. Now, Fury does, or did rather, have a nice little CS lead. That has all but evaporated right now. And KT with a really early 2,000 gold lead.
Well, as Samsung, you know, where you're going to fall off in the late game, what do you do right now?
Well, it's hard because
play, don't you?
what is Fury going to do? Okay, well, Fury is actually behind in gold. Arrow's going to build Frozen Heart pretty soon after he completes his Muramana, and then we'll see what Sunday goes after the Cinder Hulk is completed. He may just decide just to go pure tank because of the relative lack of damage from this Samsung Galaxy composition. But
I suppose he could.
Fury is just, this is not going to do damage once the KT Rolster team hits 2-3 core items. And there isn't anyone else to fill that gap. Maokai, Morgana, not exactly high damage champions.
Well, score. Seeing people with that tremor sense. But I think he's going to have to let this red buff go. Yeah. Well, Dragon's up anyway now, so KT can take that and equalize, which I think is a pretty good trade. Doesn't look like Samsung is too interested in trying to stop them. And so, looks like KT gets an easy Dragon to equalize. And so, the one little thing that Samsung had at that point over KT is gone.
And I really don't mind Samsung's composition right here. They do have a clear plan of what they wanted to do in the early game with this Kalista first pick and the Lee Sin pick. It logically makes sense, but the execution was just so poor early on, and they got delayed so much by that first blood that they are just almost certainly going to miss a timing window that they needed absolutely to hit. There we go.
Whoa, ultimate from Sunday
8 to 5 levels. This is just an insane denial by KT Rolster.
Yeah.
They have done a fantastic job of keeping Kuve down, and he's been trying, I mean, they've been trying to help him, but there's simply not very much they can do for Maokai. At least Kuve's going to hit 6 off of this big, big wave, which is being shoved down his throat in the top lane.
Yeah. And Sunday doesn't even need to get kills. All he needs to do is just kind of push him back and keep things shoved.
Yeah, the fact they couldn't deny that wave, though, you can see Eve up there again, just making sure that there isn't going to be a tower dive situation developing. They're doing everything they can to make it so Kuve gets back in, but when Lee Sin has his time devoted this way, and as well as the Alistar having to roam into the top lane just to break that freeze, you can't make plays with the Kalista. So
here we go, Score trying to make a play on the Kalista. There's a nice low, great stun, great position reverser. Fury just getting taken apart by KT. That was a really great chaining of CC. Fury did not have a chance there.
Everything that KT is doing is benefiting them so much. So they're tying up Lee Sin on the opposite side of the map to get Kuve back into the game, which means they can't make plays for the Kalista to get the Kalista fed, and that means that Sunday's pressure by forcing the jungler up there frees up Score to go down and then kill the Kalista, which makes it even worse for Samsung. I mean, this series has been very intelligent jungling by Score.
I mean, it's really scary to kind of think about what KT can do now this season, where they still have Score making those decisions that, you know, kept them relevant last season, and when you add to that now, the rest of the team catching up, the benefit that Fixer gives KT, this could easily be a top 4 team we're seeing.
Yeah,
they almost were last season, I suppose.
I'm just impressed that this is even a different KT team than we saw at the end of last season. This level of calculated play is a new dimension to KT Rolster.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing them play against SKT, GE, you know. Oops, Score. Oops, walking right into that one. Yep, that was an easy kill.
He was trying to be tricky right there with the pink ward, but the ward over, cutting off his escape route, and then he unburrowed instead of tunneling under the wall. So that was a bit of a misplay from Score.
Well, of course, I suppose. Of course, right after we talk about how good he is, yeah. This is the rule of casting, guys. If you ever talk about how great a player is, they'll immediately do something really dumb. Yep, it's true. It applies to any game as well, too. The laws of the universe. Here comes giant enemy Crab God. He's really not that giant, though. He's kind of like average enemy Crab God.
Is he even an enemy? Is he an enemy to his own team?
He's an enemy to Samsung, that's for sure. Medium friendly Crab God. Or medium neutrally inclined Crab God.
Oh, Arrow's actually going Black Cleaver on Urgot right now. Interesting. Of course, that item newly revamped, I should say.
Yep.
On patch 5.8, so it's a little bit different Urgot build than we've seen before, but makes sense. Gets Urgot even tankier, lowering those cooldowns just a little bit and giving him that shred that he does so well with. Synergized nicely with the Hecarim in the top side as well. Someday, I'm curious what he's going to go after he gets these Merc treads. If he wants to go full damage just to deal with Fury, might be a good idea.
So I haven't played with the LT Gray Braum skin
yet. It's pretty great, isn't it?
It is. It's pretty awesome. But I'm just wondering if they have like an emote where he like unfolds a chair really fast and sits in it and says, "This is going to be good." I feel like if they don't, I feel like if they don't have that, they've really missed a huge opportunity. So
I had never even thought of that, Doa, but it's pretty sad if that isn't part of that skin.
I just feel like it's got to be, but if it's not, I'm going to be pretty put out about it. Pretty upset. Pretty rustled. my jimmies will be rustled on that one.
Well, Kuve actually starting to catch up in terms of levels in CS. Well, not really levels. He's still 2 levels down, and Someday is running amok on the map at the moment.
Pretty much.
All right, so there is a ping. They do know that he's there. Wolf Spirit does detect Someday's attempted roam onto the mid lane. Looks for something to do. Well, the rest of his lane is just pushed up before he gets this rather substantial minion wave. Nogday is choosing to go Echo, it would appear, as a second item onto LeBlanc. Not sure about that one. That's a little weird.
Why not? Just because it bounces back and adds even more damage onto the Kalista.
I mean, usually, I mean, if you want to play LeBlanc as a poke champion, then I guess you can just constantly distort onto the enemy team and proc the Echo, but it's just not going to be doing quite as much work for you in terms of burst damage with your combo as a Death Cap would.
He'll get that next. It's okay.
I suppose this could be a reaction to the fact that he's playing against a Morgana, so he's not counting on being able to burst anybody down, and so is just going to plan to repeatedly W on people and get some more AoE damage down during a team fight. But
that
still
sounds much more likely.
It's still not great.
Well, Someday still pretty far ahead of Kuve here. Decent amount of CS and still level as well. But Kuve tanky enough now that he doesn't have to immediately run away at least. All right, KT with another easy dragon. I mean, there's not much to really say at this point. KT just really playing everything out perfectly, and there's not seeming to be a lot that Samsung can do about it. Ooh, Luna, dangerous warding there. He'll get away with his life at least.
Some more damage coming in from those Urgot Qs. And here we go. Just push them off the tower, make sure that they can take this objective. Oh, looks like they're going to back away. They shouldn't have been afraid of the jungler. They have enough wards right there to know whether Lee Sin was there or not, but just playing it ultra cautiously, I suppose. Now,
makes sense.
so it's going to recall, so no imperative by KT to win this game immediately. They're just going to take it slow and steady.
Certainly works. Not quite as action-packed as maybe I would prefer, but it does work. I don't really count top lane as any place where action occurs. It's sort of just, you know, two guys running into each other. It's sort of like once in a while they ult, nothing really happens.
This series has been nothing if not methodical from KT. They're playing about as conservatively as you can, taking as many high percentage advantages as possible, really punishing the top lane in both of these games beautifully.
True enough. And Crown, you know, just like last game, seems pretty much negligible across his influence on the map.
Well, I mean, you're playing Morgana. You're not going to be doing a whole lot in terms of influence on the map early on in this one. They just picked it because they wanted to deal with the LeBlanc in the mid lane, but unfortunately, it's put them in a position where they don't have sufficient damage in other places. Here we go.
All right, they're going to try to make a pick here. Oh, but immediately not working out. They're going to try to throw him in, but a nice knockback on the score. And Fury's still in big trouble. There's another position reversal right into Fixer. They get that Braum passive. One more hit will proc the stun. Someday comes in to finish him off. Meanwhile, nice knock up onto Kube and Luna. And do they have enough damage onto Kube here? Maybe. It's pretty close. Luna knocking people away to try to save his top laner. It looks like it'll work for now. Here comes Crown. Ooh, that may not be the best place to be ever. Looks like he might be able to escape your score. Gets a knock-up, though. I spoke too soon. Crown in a lot of trouble. Nagne with a kill there. Oh, and they caught Kube in the brush.
Nice flash from Score.
No kidding. Well, I think he saw him with the tremor sense and knew exactly where he was. Meanwhile, another turret goes down for KT, so a bit dicey at the beginning, but KT turns around and wins a big fight.
You gotta, if you're Samsung, you have to make a play there. You need to see if you can get back into this game. So can hardly fault them for that. But as soon as the TPs come in, given how far ahead Someday is, and he had just gone back, he has a Sheen now, so he will be going for that Trinity Force to make up for the lower damage from Arrow. There's just not. The difference is too great. I mean, it's easy for KT to win these team fights right now and snowball this game out. So nice attempt from Samsung, but KT responding appropriately and taking home that team fight win. Eve desperately attempting to get these minions off the turret and save his mid lane tower. Meanwhile, blue buff is taken. So they check the brush with the corrosive charge right there, and then it's a nice knock-up. And then we see there's Someday coming in immediately after that. Fury just targeted. He's the only source of damage. And as soon as he's dead, there's just really nothing Samsung can do to win this fight. All they've got left are crowd control. Luna does a good job of stopping the final Q from Urgot from going down, headbutting him into the wall right there to save his ally. And there is...
They got a pick, and now Fury, well, they throw Alistar over the wall for the knock-up on the Arrow, but Score is right there. Crown is already really low, an easy kill for Urgot. Position reverser onto Fury again, and immediately just blown up. And that's going to be another turret in just a moment. Arrow can just walk up and poke it.
Yeah, they got a pick right there. Did what they could do, but Arrow just very far ahead. Nice flash over the wall to finish up those kills and to trap Fury. And now Samsung losing that kill trade. 1 for 2, and then the mid lane tower finally getting knocked down as well. So just an enormous gold lead here at 20 minutes for KT Rolster.
Yeah, it really is. Probably one of the bigger gold leads we've seen so early in a long time. Yep, there's dead Morgana. That's Crown.
Poor Crown. Was actually 1-0-0 up at one point in this game.
He tried. He's still only 1-2-1, which isn't the worst ever, but it's not the best ever either.
And Kube is kind of the victim of team decisions this game as well. He got in a situation where that little difference in terms of the jungle pathing early on cost him. But KT has been punishing so incredibly hard in this best of 3 tonight.
Well, Samsung's trying to get this mid lane turret, but KT coming in from the flank. Score may try something here. Nah, just letting him go past for now. Mid lane turret getting very low, but still no turrets at all for Samsung. And with this point. KT's going to be staying on that side of the map, and anyway, just because Dragon's coming out in about 30.
Okay, well, they're just going to go ahead, secure their third Dragon of the game, I should say. 4th overall. Go ahead, wait for it right now. Make sure they've got all those wards cleared out. Nice couple of pinks right by the pit. Deep wards at the red buff as well, just in case. One more ward gone, thanks to Fixer. And I mean, Fury, he just has this Bloodthirster right now as the armor is going to start piling on here. Score working towards Randuin's, it would appear, and now Frozen Heart started for Arrow.
This Kalista does no damage.
This Kalista does no damage at all.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Crown would if he got close enough, but I don't think that's really going to happen. Another Dragon. That's the 3rd one now for KT. And as one-sided as the first game was, this one is even more so. Binding onto Fixer there, but Crown, with any follow-up, does he have it? Pops that ultimate, goes after Fixer. Looks like he may get a kill there. It looks like he will.
It's a nice play by Crown, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, Crown has definitely been holding his own this series. It's been mostly teamwork flaws within Samsung that are costing them here. And just to know your limits well enough and to go in the 1v2 and take out the support, nice play.
Yeah, well, Crown continues to be a bright spot on this Samsung team as well, too. He definitely seems like a move in the right direction for the mid lane from Bliss and Ace.
Yeah, gotta agree with that one.
Time to defend the mid lane turret. Looks like they might have to give this one up. Or not. They clear the minions. Oh, they're going in. There's binding on to Eve. Eve, a little bit low. Score gets knocked back in. Tanky enough that he doesn't really care too much. And here comes Someday from the flank. Going to try to make something happen. He's waiting for the rest of his team to catch up. They use positioner for reverser on the Eve. Meanwhile, there's a big ult hitting everybody left on the team. Cuvée stuck in the middle, gets taken out. A couple low health members on KT, but really nothing to worry about there. A great ult from Someday to follow up that position reverser and just make sure that nobody on Samsung could respond.
Yep, they're going to go ahead and take the mid lane turret, transition immediately into this Baron as well, it would appear. They should have the HP on Someday in order to clean this one up. Someday 3-0-4 with a 70 CS advantage at this point in time. Nagne standing in a ward.
It's a cool place to hang out, you know.
Void Rush gets Score back with full HP, so it will be easy, uncontested Baron right now. KT slowly working their way through it. They don't have the best composition for doing this Baron particularly quickly.
Oh, flash pulverized. Nagne gets knocked back up. Oh, he gets out of the binding. Not bad. Meanwhile, Baron's still alive. Finally goes down. KT takes it up. It looks like Samsung wants to fight here. Fixer a bit low. KT has to flee. They'll get a couple kills out of it. Someday and Fixer taken out. Double kill for Fury, but the Baron's still taken by KT.
That was a really good response, actually, from Samsung to come in. They had the vision onto Nagne, so Luna making a play right there to eliminate Nagne before he could burst somebody down. Just kick him right out of that team fight. And they follow up due to the slow Baron speed of KT's composition.
Right.
So Someday now starting to build up that armor as well. Frozen Heart done for Arrow. Meanwhile, Runan's Hurricane will be the item of choice for Fury, but without any kind of armor penetration, it does seem unlikely that he's actually going to be able to burst through anybody in these team fights.
Yeah, probably. Meanwhile, Nagne's just going to grab the enemy blue buff. Easily enough. And we'll see how fast KT can close this one out.
Pretty quickly. Should be. Unfortunately for KT, they did lose the Baron buff onto Someday, so their 4-1 split going to be weaker. That's actually pretty huge that Samsung managed to get that kill, because it would have been a lot easier for them to close considering the advantage that this Hecarim now he's got it finished as a Righteous Glory. Not even that Frozen Heart yet. So he would not be in the best position to deal with a Baron-empowered split push from the Hecarim.
No, definitely true. Looks like his team's going to help him out anyway. And KT aiming for that bottom lane. Fury and Luna are there already. That's his Crown. And of course with that Runan's Hurricane, they've got plenty of wave clear.
Yeah,
add Morgana into that.
I think that's the hope right now, is that the Hurricane will just help them turtle as much as they possibly can.
Oh, are they going to get close enough to do something? Look at all that damage on the ground. Someday going deep to try to finish him off. A flash from Score to get the job done. And KT just all over Samsung right now. Fury kiting backwards, getting damage onto KT, but not a lot. They're just too tanky right now. KT wants a turret, they'll take a turret. They can pretty much get whatever they desire at this point.
Yeah, a great dive right there, just following up on this massive gold lead that they had. They can push forward. Arrow just going to tank that right away.
Yeah, handing it off to Score there as well, too. And it's going to be an inhibitor for the KT Rolster team. Easy. Making it look pretty easy.
KT's made this whole series look pretty easy.
Yeah, they have. Yes, they have. And, you know, we saw Fury doing some pretty good tanking that last fight, but just not able to really do any damage.
So out the gate again. Looks like they want to pick up a red buff, probably a 4th dragon, and then move in for the kill onto Samsung.
I would imagine.
This has been, I thought this series would be relatively one-sided, though, but I didn't think it was going to be this one-sided.
Yeah, well, you know, I think we're seeing some two things here. You know, some decent-sized flaws kind of being exposed in Samsung's play right now, and also KT just being probably better than anyone was expecting them to be in this very first match. And yeah, you could say it's against one of the weaker teams in the league at the moment, but KT still has improved quite a bit since Champion Spring, at least in this initial match anyway.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them take on teams like SK Telecom and CJ now.
Yeah.
To see how they hold up in those situations. And looks like, okay, just continue to push up these super minions, keep Samsung occupied while they wrest control over the Dragon Pit right now, and that's what they're going to get, just waiting patiently for him to hop down to his doom. No, don't go in, Dragon.
Oh, it's like, I got it. I can take these guys. See, I knocked them back. No.
He totally can't take those guys.
Not working. It's like, no, attack the AD carry, Dragon.
I don't know, the AD carry has a lot of armor and HP, so.
Why focus tank? Report Dragon 9X.
They're both tanks.
One's more of a tank? I don't know.
So 2 Frozen Hearts done now. Pretty much no way for this Kalista to do much of anything any longer.
Pretty much. And KT just moving to the other side lane to take out the tier 2 there. It's the final tier 2 left on the map for Samsung, and it's gone.
Fixer has a QSS.
Trying to stay safe against the Morgana ult, maybe. I don't know.
Questionable.
Morgana ult is serious business, man.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Nagne trying to blow people up now. And
wow.
Again, with the Black Shield, it's not really going to be too possible, but
yeah.
Still doing a decent amount of damage.
Still, forcing Crown to use the Black Shield on himself is really nice because that means you can follow up dive with a lot of the CC that they have. And
Sure.
Nagne getting through 50% even with the Black Shield, so.
Impressive stuff.
Auto the turret.
Yep. Oh, Nagne coming in for more damage this time onto Eve, it looks like.
They're waiting for this minion wave to develop in the bottom side before they really make a commitment to any of these inhibitors right now. Rapidly moving between mid and top lane. And that tower's nearly done.
Well, they can swap back and forth as much as they want at this point, and eventually Samsung's going to lose a turret.
That Luden's poke from LeBlanc is actually working better than I thought it would. Oh, there's QSS on the fighting.
Hey, it's a good thing he bought it, you know? That could have been dangerous. Better safe than sorry, Monty. Those turrets pretty low in mid. But KT, you know, with a minute until Baron, maybe they'll just take that. What am I saying, maybe? Of course they're going to go take the Baron.
Well, they have to go deal with this super minion on their Nexus turret right now, and KT, patient as can be.
Now, oh, there was the damage. No Black Shield that time.
Ow.
Wow, that was 100-0 right there. Turret goes 100-0 at the same time. A little bit more damage onto Luna. Quite a bit. Luna tries to flash ahead for the pulverize, doesn't quite get it. Meanwhile, KT playing things very safe, just playing on the outside of those ranges for the champions. Nothing that Samsung can do as they're pushed all the way back to the Nexus. And it's going to be another easy inhibitor for KT. There it goes. Why not grab the one in mid at the same time?
All 3 inhibitors now. And, man, Nagne just continually poking in, trying to find that angle. Eventually finds the weak point in the armor of Samsung and exploits it immediately. That big kill right there, 13,000 gold to 10,000. And look at that, 5,000 gold advantage for Someday. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, it's at this point in the game, you usually see the winning team with a 5,000 gold advantage overall. You don't see a 5,000 gold advantage for the top laner against the enemy top laner.
Look what KT did right there, too. So Score just stuck around in front of the Baron pit until the rest of his team had recalled bot and then returned, just to make sure that there wasn't any chance of a counter Baron rush. So just really well coordinated from KT, even in a position where it would take a miracle for Samsung to win this game.
Well, they're smart. They're just really not giving Samsung any windows at all to come back.
They sure are not.
Yeah, and that's a very clean way to close out the game. Now with that Baron buff, we'll see just how quickly they can get in there. I mean, all the minion waves are coming down right now. Arrow just loves to dance. But what giant enemy crab god doesn't love to dance?
I'd dance if I was a giant enemy crab god dog.
Exactly. You could do like dances for 2 people just by yourself because you've got 4 legs. It's pretty cool. Not like swing dances. You couldn't like flip yourself over your own shoulder or anything like that. You could do like a waltz maybe.
I don't know. Urgot's pretty nimble when it comes to flipping people around, so.
It's true. But that's technology, man. That's not physical prowess. Oh, wow. A lot of damage onto Luna there from Nagne. Position reverser on the ground. They're just going to grab him, it looks like. Arrow gets pushed back way deep towards the enemy nexus. He might get taken out here. Yes, he will indeed. But KT manages to get the kill on the mid laner from Samsung anyway. Uwe, there we go. Someday taking a lot of damage. Fury kiting backwards still. That's a double kill now for Someday, though, as they bulldoze their way farther to the base. Oh, Fury gets taken down. Nagne with the finishing blow there. Someday. Get out of that. Get out of the fountain, Super Minion. What are you doing? Oh, KT playing with their food. Nagne does not make it out. The kill for Eve. But there goes the Nexus, and KT with a very convincing
Actually, what's interesting about this is Ignar is actually the one who's been playing a lot of Bard and solo queue.
Yeah, and he's been getting a lot of wins with it, too, if you look at his recent match results. But they know things we don't know. They've been in scrims that we haven't seen, so apparently Sweet's Bard is something to be afraid of, which makes me very excited.
That's the first Bard ban we have ever seen. Well, here we go. Gragas is going to be the final ban right there. So will the Azir be taken first for GBM? GBM very tired, just the constant yawning today.
I can relate. I've been jet lagged pretty much all week. I know how you feel, GBM. He's like, oh, Azir, I just want to play Xerath over and over again. Oh, man.
Jinair and I Am were the 2 main Xerath teams here. Champions. The Xerath Wars when they fought. As Xerath bouncing back and forth between the 2 of them, so it will be the Azir first. Now, Frozen does have a lot of options in terms of what he could play into that matchup. Will be the Urgot early pick, actually.
Yeah, and they get the Thresh for Ignar, too, which I think is going to be pretty important. So we'll see what Jinair has to respond with. Some good top lane and jungle options available to them right now.
First time we've seen Urgot be a priority pick in some time. Now, IM did do very well with it, as we saw in some of those clips during the qualifiers, but I think that used more as a counter pick these days, like we saw against the Callista in that last game, as opposed to being first pick worthy. Chaser hovering over that Nidalee for the time being. Of course, the Sejuani still available to him should he want to snap that up. Hecarim could come in here, especially with the Gnar ban. Hecarim becomes a much more attractive option, so you don't get Frozen Mallet black cleavered like Kuve did in the last game. So
yeah, Sejuani should be the pickups. And excuse me, they are locked in. Maokai seems like an appropriate response here. And Frozen has been a big Lux player for a long time, but I think that was more a little bit of trolling from GBM than anything. Be pretty surprised if the Lux gets picked, but I wouldn't be as surprised by the Ahri.
I don't know. Frozen will bust out the Lux from time to time, even off meta. We've seen that.
But still.
Could be a mid Kog'Maw here, actually, for some nice poke with that Luden's Echo. Maokai will be locked in for the top lane, so very tanky composition from IM. They're going to go for Lee Sin. Okay.
Wow, so we'll get to see Tucson place him jungle Lee Sin then.
Well, they've got hard CC in 2 lanes right now in the side lane, so there's a lot of opportunity for some early pressure from Lee Sin, especially against a farming jungler like Sejuani. So the side lanes from Jennera are going to have to play pretty conservatively. They want to stay alive, and this may, of course, prompt that Ezreal pickup right now just to have a bit more survivability during the laning phase.
And sweet grabbing the Janna too wouldn't be bad as well, just to prevent some of that engage. Ooh, but maybe it will be that Alistar.
I think Alistar Ezreal is about as conservative as you can get here if you're worried about shutting down this Lee Sin and just turtling it out to the late game, and that's what they're going to go with.
Yep, so the final pick now over to Longzhu IM. And we'll see what they decide to send in there as their mid laner. Okay, yep. Frozen has always been a big Cassiopeia player. Even before Cassiopeia became very meta, Frozen was known as one of the better ones in Korea for that.
Frozen was the king of Victor and Cassiopeia before that meta actually arrived, so it sort of fell right into his lap. He was drawing Cassiopeia bans before anybody was playing Cassiopeia, so cool to see him pick that one up. And they needed a high damage mid laner to compensate in the late game for the lack of damage otherwise speaking. So lots of crowd control right now, lots of options for TuSin to make some plays on the map here. We get to see that sort of skill matchup between Azir and Cassiopeia one more time. It's a very interesting matchup in the mid lane as both players trying to zone each other a lot of death.
Yeah, it's too
so
bad.
They can kind of go back to that old style, I feel.
It's too bad that you know, that Wisdom ended up having those issues too, because it did seem like it was really starting to work for IM before Wisdom had to take a break, and
probably
TuSin carrying on in his footsteps now.
Probably we'll see Wisdom playing on the Tigers soon, I would imagine. So
yeah, quite possible.
He'll probably get some play time here over the course of the season. So hopefully some of his wrist issues have lightened up a little bit.
Yep. I'd imagine if he's on another team, he's probably ready to at least practice again.
Okay.
Oh, Ignar doing some good zoning early on. Gonna get that level 2 a little bit quicker, it looks like.
This is just a very defensive lane from Jennera. Stay out of range, farm with Mystic Shot if you need to, heal up if you happen to get hit by one of those corrosive charges from the Urgot, but just all about playing for that late game and nullifying this Lee Sin pick, which does carry a pretty decent amount of risk in the current meta.
We already know what's going to happen, though. They've got giant enemy Crab God. They've secured the win. No worries.
It's over already, Noah.
Yep.
Why even play the game?
Sorry to disappoint, but giant enemy Crab God decides these things.
Oops, couldn't quite hit that CS at the back. Gets it anyway. We'll watch. Very boring lane. And there's
hook on to Chaser already. Ignar doing some roaming, and there's TuSin. Chaser trying to get away. Had to burn his flash there, so already the support jungle duo are making plays.
Well, that's the danger of playing Sejuani right here, is that you are going to be farming. You are vulnerable to some of these more high damage junglers like Lee Sin, and Ignar finding a cute place to catch out Chaser and already taking his flash away, so that's one less tool they're going to have in these 2v2s if TuSin can find a skirmish right here. And there's a pink ward going to be taken out immediately. Chaser not in a position to go ahead and take that out, and activating the blue buff, so Chaser trying to remain elusive in the jungle right now, but he's going to be a little scared of going to that camp. He does have the Scuttle Crab at the very least and some decent warding in the river.
Yep. And GPM understandably pushed back a little bit early on, but still more or less keeping up in CS. So fairly passive start aside from that little roam from Ignar, but we'll see if maybe IM gets a few more opportunities for that type of thing. Right now with the warding, it's pretty easy for Ignar to just sort of sneak away, you know, pretend that he's going to go ward try and then just slip off to mid lane for a moment.
Wow, this lane is really boring.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know why we're watching this lane so much. I mean, pretty much all the lanes are going to be boring. It's just going to be a farm fest for a while.
Let me tell you what we have a choice of watching here right now, Monty.
I want to watch Lee Sin.
You want to just watch Lee Sin clear jungle camps?
Yes.
Why is that?
I do, because maybe the Lee Sin will do something again.
Well, he's back at base now, so I don't think that's going to happen.
All right, Skirmisher Saber into Warrior enchantment, so Tucson really looking to get into those back lines and be as disruptive as possible. Trace just going to go ahead and take the Gromp right now with that Hecarim. Did get a health crystal first, and now he's going to have that Gromp buff just to be as annoying in lane as he possibly can be.
He's a bit down in CS for the moment, but he should be able to sit in lane and CS a little bit more now. Catch up, perhaps.
Yeah, well, he's also going to win every trade with Maokai with that Gromp buff on, so does have that advantage going for him as well.
True enough. And GBM just farming under turret. And here we go. You know, Ezreal Alistar is really one of the classic League of Legends bot lanes. It's been around for a long time.
Yes, it reminds me of Woong in Mad Life.
Yep. Oh, an early dragon for IM. We'll see if they can sneak this one away. They've got the ward in the back of the pit right now.
And they have control over the bottom side of the map too, so there's not really much actually that Jin is going to be able to do about this one. Just a recall coming in from Chaser. They probably have some idea that this is going on, but there's no way they can skirmish this. And Chaser can't go into that pit without the flash available, so take out that dragon.
Yep, I'm starting to feel it. The jungle support synergy, it's coming back. It's Tucson Wisdom 2.0. Tucson and Ignar now. They're cops. Who's a good cop and bad cop, though? I feel like Ignar's the bad cop and Tucson's a good cop.
Okay. I think I can accept that.
Yeah.
Ignar is playing the undead character this game.
Sure.
The soul-stealing character, whereas Tucson is the righteous monk. So I think we can go with the good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
In that direction.
Well, Tucson could be like, you know, I really hope my friend Ignar here doesn't get mad because whatever he does, I can't witness it.
All right, double tier for Incredible Miracle, though, so it's going to be a while before they can make plays, which means that picking up that early dragon is just even more important because they were unlikely to be able to contest it anyway. So by snagging it, they avoid being in a power trough and trying to fight at that dragon early on. So it's a nice little bonus right there, and something that the Lee Sin helps make up for, too. The lack of punch until those tiers are fully stacked is Lee Sin's prime time to shine. And so they at least have a well-balanced power curve here, even if that is going to fall off just a little bit. Trace still pretty far behind in terms of CS.
I was about to say, Apple gaining a pretty decent lead already. This guy's pretty exciting. End up being a pretty good top laner because you just don't see Trace fall behind like that very often.
Yeah, I mean, the Maokai can be decent into the Hecarim, but usually you wouldn't see a lead this big opening up.
Yeah, it's exceptionally large. A little bit of poking onto Pilot. Can't Arcane Shift out of the way of the Acid Hunter, can you?
I wonder how reserved Trace has been playing, too, as a result of this Lee Sin pick. He's had pretty good vision.
Oh, grab onto Pilot, even after the Arcane Shift. Yeah, but the thing is that Jin doesn't have any forward wards. So right now, I would imagine Trace is feeling a little bit nervous there.
Well, Chaser is level 6 right now, so he can actually be a lot more effective in ganks. Let's see if he's going to decide to make a play instead. Looks like
no plays there, not standing in a ward.
Nope, just going to back out. Something popped his Raptor buff, looked like, so or it ran out.
Yep. Oh, they're going to try to make a play on Ignar here. Position reverser. They're actually going to get Sweet away. Oh, nice Lantern play. Oh, they grab Sweet anyway. He's tanky, but that's a lot of damage. Wow. Roar and Ignar managing to use the abilities there to stay safe.
That was a really bold bait, actually, considering they knew that he was there and their jungler wasn't anywhere nearby. They continue to go on to this one.
They tried. Oh, there's a Sejuani out on the Ignar now. I think he's going to go down, but can Ward pick up a kill here? He does onto Sweet. Can he get away? No. 2 kills for Pilot down the bot lane and a celebration true shot barrage.
I don't really know why they would have gone back into that one. Now they have the pink ward in the brush. They should have suspected that Chaser was still around, and instead the double kill goes over to Pilot.
It was a nice escape, and then they just kind of walked back up to him.
I mean, they won the trade even in that 2v3, so they had the advantage they needed and then got a little bit greedy. And Ignar, without any kind of flash, walking into that brush with the Alistair in it. And then Chaser still having his Glacial Prison up. They knew that ultimate hadn't been used on that initial gank, so pretty sloppy actually from IM.
It's a bit surprising. You know, the interesting thing though, despite all that, is that if you look at top and mid, IM getting pretty decent CS leads over both of their counterparts on Jin Air. Really,
yeah, that top lane is especially troubling actually. Yeah. When a Maokai is going to get this far ahead, you have to be very concerned about how you're going to take him out in the late game.
Yeah, because that's just like straight up 1v1. The junglers really haven't been up there very often, so that is just purely Apple outplaying Trace.
Yep, no ganks up in that top lane yet.
Yeah.
So Pilot able to pick up even more sustain right now too with that Vamp Scepter off of the 2 kills that they got.
Despite the kills though too, IM still ahead in CS down in that bot lane as well. Pretty interesting.
Well, I mean, you are bullying out with this Urgot and creating some pretty large zones, so I think that's to be expected to a certain degree. But this 40 CS gap between Trace and Apple is absolutely crazy.
Well, it's been continuing to grow. Like last time we checked, it was 10, or it was 20 rather, then it was 30. Now it's 40.
It's very troubling.
Yeah, Apple's really running away with the lane at the moment. TuSyn in the meantime, just a moment to farm, probably up to well, he's 6 now, I suppose. Or he has surpassed the 6 mark anyway at this point.
Well, they know that this Sejuani is in the bottom side. So TuSyn is waiting right now to execute a counter gank in case Sejuani comes in. And Chaser looking to make a play from that brush. Chaser does have, there's a Glacial
Flash ult onto Roar, nice knockups. Oh, look at all that damage. True Shot Barrage comes through. Somehow he stays tanky enough to survive for a little while, but it's still a kill for Jin Air. That was clean. Whoa, Trace also wrong direction. They still get the kill on the Ignar though. TuSyn has to flash away. A bit of an awkward fight, but Jin Air still comes away with 2 kills.
Yeah, GBF2 had the angle from the mid lane, so there's no help coming from Cassiopeia. Sweet under the tower.
Yeah, I don't know. Sweet. Just kind of hanging out under tower, I guess.
They want to go for this dragon immediately, so Jin Air going to take the second dragon of the game. But IM, that's the second time that they know what's coming. They can see what is coming into that lane, and I think they are overestimating their power at this point in time. Trying to make some fancy plays right there, but just Chaser with the priority and actually committing I don't think they expected Chaser to flash ult like that, because he got a lot of damage down before TuSyn was able to react from the lane.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice little lead early on for Jin Air because of that. 1 dragon apiece as well too. Overall still a close game, and largely close because of the CS lead on the side of IM. Now the CS lead up in top of 50 about.
Yeah, but the big thing is that Trace got a kill right there, so that's going to close that gold gap pretty significantly, and was going to be pretty important to how this lane plays out in the future. Pilot also another couple of assists, getting that Bilgewater Cutlass, so he's really safe in terms of being able to continue to stack that tier and play pretty far back. So here we go again. Another attempt from TuSyn.
Now he's waiting. No Chaser this time around though. Oh, there he is. Now he's coming in.
Are they going to try this again though when they know that Chaser's back and his ultimate is going to be up one more time? No, they're finally just going to back off of that one. This is very weird from IM, just in terms of how much they're committing right now. Chaser getting a whole handful of deep wards alongside Sweet into that bottom side jungle from IM.
Not bad. So they're going to see TuSyn come through here. That turret's so low. Oh, junglers find each other.
So this is where Jin Air can actually, if they can take out this turret in the bottom side, the grouping with the Azir is going to be very effective. Again, pretty low wave clear from IM. It's not the worst in the world, but Cassiopeia just taking time because she has that damage over time instead of the instant wave clear. So you can get a couple more shots in on the turret if there's a Cassiopeia defending. And also just the zones that they can create, Jin Air can create, are pretty huge with this Azir too. So it will make it hard for Cassiopeia to get close enough without getting poked.
GBM trying to fight back in mid lane, and he hasn't really lost any more CS. I mean, he's still about the same behind that he was before. But
Trace
they can wait, you know?
Taking out this whole jungle right now. Moving from Wolves straight over to that Gromp.
Well, that'll help too, because his CS number is less, but he's getting minions now that are worth much more than the average minions too.
Especially now that he has the Saber.
Oh, GBM trying to make a plan to Frozen, but Frozen flashes out of it.
Still nice to get a flash right there just for your ultimate. If you're Azir and he's going to have the blue buff transferred over to him immediately after taking out these last couple of minions here. So
they'll be able to give him the blue buff too.
Well, I am with the deficit right now with this Lee Sin. Things have not been going their way early on. Wow. Oh, whoa.
Wow,
challenging
very
smite.
low. Getting caught. Yeah, Trace over the wall for an easy kill there. Apple can't save him. Trace just really aware of the opportunities and taking a good one there.
That was a great all-in from Trace.
Yeah.
To take out Tucson and using that challenging smite to get a lot of that true damage. Of course, Tucson still very low in terms of HP, thanks to the fact that he went for that warrior enchantment. Tower falls in the bottom side as Roar and Ignar are forced off the turret due to a recall. And so now this is a great opportunity for Jin Air just to group up and start sieging. 4-1 split will be extremely effective for them.
Yeah, Trace may have been...
Trace got a red buff out of that as well.
Yeah, and so despite being down in CS by quite a bit, those kills are helping him stay very relevant in this game.
Hugely important. It is weird that he got so far behind in the first place, though, and
that
troubling.
Is kind of strange, yeah.
Can't always bank on getting these kills or making these plays onto the enemy jungler.
Oh, definitely. Well, he's back again to get more CS after being 67 down at the beginning of that.
It's pretty terrible that he's 60 CS down at 17 minutes into this game. That is not an acceptable way to lane.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you imagine a world in which he wouldn't have gotten those kills, which is quite possible.
Yeah.
And suddenly, IM has a big advantage.
Yeah, the useless Hecarim.
Yep. And so, Dragon up in about a minute. We'll see who can claim it. This would be the second for whoever's able to take it.
Well, you're still not very confident in taking this Dragon if you're Incredible Miracle. You haven't really scaled all that well yet. Roar does have his Black Cleaver now, so at least has 2 core items. The Blade of the Ruin King finished for Pilot. And now Jin Air moving in to the river, starting to encroach on IM's territory with a few wards right here.
Yeah. Wow, Apple just keeps getting more CS. He's going to be huge, too. This is certainly a bit of a cause for concern, I think, in the later stages of the game.
Here we go. Chaser and Sweet really want to hand this blue buff over to Pilot for better poke, and they're going to get it. That is really important because having a blue buff onto Ezreal at this timing for a siege is very nice for them, even though this Ezreal doesn't have that sheen, so he's not going to hit quite as hard or be able to take out turrets nearly as quickly.
It seems like a pretty large error for IM to let that happen. Jin Air waiting to see if they can bait the fight. Here we go. Flash Pulverize actually onto Ignar. They're going to come through. True Shot Barrage used again. That's a lot of damage onto Thresh. Not quite enough to finish him off because of that shield. He's got the safeguard as well, too. But Jin Air has successfully pushed back IM, especially their support, so they might be able to get the Dragon. Never mind. GBM making a play onto Tucson here. Over the wall, trying to get that kill. It looks like he'll be able to just barely grab it. And so a near kill followed by an actual kill.
I like actual kills. Great play by GBM, though.
Yeah.
Onto this Lee Sin, that highly mobile champion, able to corner him and shove him back into the team and then finish it up with a flash. Just well executed mechanically. And GBM continues to show so much mastery on such a huge champion pool.
Yeah.
This guy can play absolutely anything in the meta, it seems. When his team needs him to pick up a champion, he's always been there this year. And it's so strange, too, because GBM historically has been that player with a bunch of weird pocket picks like Heimerdinger and Morgana mid and seemingly unable to play a wide variety of champions. And then in 2015, he shows up with a much larger box of tools to work with out of the mid lane.
And look at that. They just showed us that despite being 70 CS down, Trace is actually 100 gold ahead of Apple right now because of the kills, because of other things.
Yeah, the turret.
Yeah, Trace is able to actually not only maintain but exceed, which is pretty amazing. You wouldn't expect to see that looking at the CS.
Well, also those jungle camps are just worth so much money to
exactly,
him.
Yeah.
So
that's really the biggest part, I think. And the kills.
He's been certainly farming a lot of the jungle this game.
Yep.
And there's True Shot Barrage to clear out this wave on the opposite side of the map. Here it comes.
Not quite soon enough, though. Oh, look out.
Oh, barely too late.
Well, they would have probably finished off either way, I suppose.
All right, they're going to try and dive right here, Apple. So Chaser already there. Twisted Advance coming in. Sweet's going to punt him backwards.
This is dedication, man. Yeah, the pulverize, the headbutt, and Pilot coming in to add on more damage. Even GBM joining in. Apple right now, the strongest member probably of IM, and so a good target for Jin to get a bit more position in this game.
Already finishing up his Frozen Heart, however. Chaser trying to save his ultimate, forced to use it in the end to help secure that kill. GBM with a nice Azir roam after pushing up that mid lane. They're going to go ahead and take away the red buff if they can at the same time. It does go over to Tucson, who snags it with a smite. Chaser's not quite able to pick that one up.
Whoa,
and GBM somehow died to Frozen.
Yeah, I guess there was a 1v1 there.
Ooh, that was a good read, actually.
Where's the body? I don't even know where he died. We'll have to see a replay of that one. GBM, I don't recall being too low on health after that. Let's find out. Yeah, full health. Frozen just over the wall with that ultimate, and GBM just not able to make it out.
That was a cool all-in from Frozen.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, you have to be careful right there. If you don't have a pink ward, you should know that there's probably going to be a ward and that there is a chance that Frozen's just going to pop over. He knows your flash is down. So playing a bit risky there, GBM, a little bit greedy, coming back into lane off of that roam. And he gets punished for it, but it's a nice way for Frozen to sort of get back into this game. I mean, IM definitely isn't out of this yet. They're only 2K gold down or so because of the farm advantage that they've managed to accrue in all three lanes. So it's actually minimizing the fact that they are 5 kills down at this point, and they got the first dragon as well. So still going to be hard for them to win because of this Lee Sin and how strong Jin composition is in the late game, but definitely IM still can make a match of it.
Yeah. And we'll see what their plan is for that. Right now, the plan is just to get back a little bit of vision control throughout their side of the jungle. Jin has been in there for a while now.
So they're about to hit a big power spike when these tiers are completed also, because they have 2 tiers, so they're going to have a Muramana and that Seraph's Embrace. So in spite of that gold differential, we should be just about even when those items get finished.
Oh, he did not see that one ward, it looks like. So at least IM with some vision anyway, as they try to protect their blue buff. We'll see if they can. Looks like for now Jin pushed back, but IM needs to be careful. If anyone gets poked down, Dragon's coming up soon, and you don't want to be in that situation.
Took a lot of poke damage there from Ezreal and the Luden's Echo, however. Tucson hopping out on the Lantern, but blue buff. Who got it?
I think GBM got that,
GBM
actually.
Must have
yeah,
gotten it.
They were able to steal the blue. Wow, I wonder if that was like a Luden's proc or something.
Frozen may have gotten it too.
That was interesting.
It's hard to tell, actually, where that blue buff went. I think Frozen got it.
Did he? I didn't see it on him. We'll see. We'll scroll back up. Don't worry. We'll see it sometime.
The world may never know. Actually, somebody probably knows who is watching more carefully than we were, but
someone. The players probably know. Who knows?
Not us.
Yep. Pretty much. Dragon up in 45. Oh yeah, there's a blue buff onto Frozen. But is it an old buff or a new buff?
So looks like Trace actually going to be the first Hecarim tonight to not build the Trinity Force right after finishing up. And in this particular scenario, I think that makes sense. He really just needs to get tanky right now. There's a lot of damage that's going to be coming in off of Vizier anyway. And he doesn't necessarily need to one-shot the Cassiopeia right here. And he's certainly not going to one-shot the Urgot. And of course, Urgot a great counter pick to Hecarim in general, just because as we saw CJ do it probably best and space on that Urgot. When the Hecarim comes in for the flank, with that home guard, you could just immediately ult him.
You just grab him. Yep.
Just grab him right away and make sure.
Corral that horse.
You know, slip the halter onto him.
Wrangle it, perhaps.
Gotta wrangle it.
Continuing our earlier theme. Urgot is a horse wrangler of League of Legends, I guess.
We know. He's a pretty damn good horse wrangler. So yeah, you just cut so much of his damage.
Oh, close call.
Because of his passive and the fact that he gets to... Oh,
here we go. A little bit of damage onto Tucson. And IM needs to be careful that they don't get poked off of this dragon.
Recalling right now, trying to set up for this fight. They want to use that home guard if they are able. Pilot feverishly clearing out minions in the mid lane.
Yeah, looks like Dragon's going to be activated by IM anyway. Scrying Orb used. There's a teleport coming in. Apple there to defend his team. But Hecarim coming from the side. True Shot Barrage not doing a lot. There's immediately that position reverser onto Hecarim, just like we talked about. He's going to ult back over, and that's still a lot of damage onto IM. They're going to get pushed back anyway. Jin Air not interested in fighting too much, it looks like. They'll just back off, see if they can maybe get into a position to take the Dragon. GBM is going to go ahead and wake it up. He's the Dragon regular this game.
No, they really just want to push mid right now, actually, and continue to poke IM off of this objective. I mean, yeah, Tucson is going to have to go back. It's a large minion wave developed at the tier 2, but it doesn't look like that's actually going to be able to kill the turret in the end. Jin Air still a little bit shy about taking this dragon. It will releash right there and sort of awkwardly flap at the mouth of the pit.
He's just going to hang out outside the pit.
All right.
He's moved. Dragon is tired, finally. I'm like, when is he going to get tired of being in that pit? I agree with the Dragon completely.
What's going on? He's bugged out now.
Oh, he's stuck. Like, oh, look, I can make it. Okay, there. IM has freed the Dragon. They are the mother of dragons.
Wow, so they're just going to give that up. Even though they had control over the crab and the speed shrine, they didn't want to commit to that fight. A lot of ultimates were already down for them, but I think they could have just continued poking. Tucson did have to go back to base and then return during that time period, but they were afraid of that minion wave going to waste on the bottom side. So instead, they take out the mid turret, go for the minion wave instead, say, we'll get the next one. It's 2-2 in terms of dragons anyway, so there's not really a big timer. Jin Air wants that gold immediately as opposed to playing the dragon game.
The dragon was acting kind of weird too. It was suspicious. You know, I don't know if I'd want to get too close to that dragon.
It's definitely tricky.
Yeah, the river dragon. He's like, I have to defend this Rift Scuttler. He's been through too much.
Wow, Pilot actually going for the Iceborne Gauntlet. So Jin Air really committing to just being able to kite this Cassiopeia.
Yeah, I think that's smart. Same thing I suppose you could say to a lesser extent with the Urgot as well too, chasing you with the Acid Seeker.
Yeah, also, I mean, just more armor to deal with the Urgot anyway.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an item we don't see very often on Ezreal, but if played right, we know Pilot's a much more reserved AD carry. He really likes just standing in the back with these caster carries. He likes his Corki. He likes his Ezreal. Just sit there and hit you with mystic shots or rockets all day is really the way he likes to play the game.
True enough. I am trying to defend the incursion to their jungle for Jin Air right now.
I love how Jin Air has actually figured out a way as they sneak this Baron right now. It will be discovered, and they're going to have to back off a bit, but cute little attempt. Jin Air has figured out a way to play this disengaged poke composition pretty well in the Cinderhulk meta, and they should count themselves lucky that there isn't a very strong engaged jungler on the other side, because I feel like the Lee Sin pick is actually helping them out quite a bit. Here, if the Sejuani was on the other team, they would have a lot more problems in terms of trying to execute this. We're just going to sit here and poke you composition.
Well, it's working this game. But is this the type of thing you can really carry into other teams, other compositions?
It's just kind of an inefficient way to play the current meta. When you have all of these junglers like Gragas and Sejuani that have such strong engage tools,
Yeah.
playing poke just doesn't do them a lot of service when you get all in and can be much stronger off of that big AoE CC.
Suppose it.
QSS. Holy cow, Pilot, this is the most
Super
defensive. Okay, he's got a Blade of the Ruined King to self-heal. He has a QSS to get rid of the Urgot ultimate now, and he has an Iceborne Gauntlet. This guy, this is the ultimate safety build onto Ezreal.
He does not want to die. If there was like an armor that was just made of pillows that you duct tape to yourself, he would buy that too.
The only thing he needs right now is to, what, 6th item buy a GA? That would be pretty crazy.
Banshee's Veil too.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't
Sell
do
his
that.
boots for Banshee's Veil.
No, he definitely needs more damage.
Oh, Chaser, a kickback. Tucson trying to escape out of this one. Roar there already though. As is Frozen. So an interesting moment there, but Jin Air pushed back.
Well, they have sufficient wards around there, trying to get a few more in around the red buff, but do get punished for it a little bit. Chaser has to recall. The GBM continues just to defend this pink ward right behind the red buff.
True enough. Sweet's like, I don't want to take it. Just going to hang out.
All right, so they're trying to create a pick around this Baron once again. Sweet's still there. They're not going to be able to get it as GBM easily clear out that ward. Oh, wow, 2-6.
Oh, here we go. Sweet actually going in deep. Chaser following two-shot barrage comes through, but here comes the teleport for IM. Canceled, though. Doesn't look like they're going to turn that one around. Apple just walking back through the base now, and Jin Air starting that Baron. Can Chaser zone well enough? We'll see. He might be able to throw the ult in as well. Yeah, there it is onto Roar. Nice knock-up from Sweet. Oh, man, and GBM in with the Emperor's Divide, and IM just gets annihilated. On the run already, GBM slowed down quite a bit, and Frozen backing away safely, but kills come in for Jin Air across the board, and this could lead to a very easy Baron now.
Yeah, now they're going to be able to take it.
Wow.
It's going to be a bit slow just because of their itemizations here, but there's not really anybody who can steal it unless we're talking about a miracle coming in from Apple, and there it is, wrapped up by Chaser. Chaser's doing a much better job of engaging than he normally does this game. That was a great ultimate to set up that fight, and then the combo coming in with Onslaught of Shadows and Emperor's Divide too, just wrecking Incredible Miracle. Didn't really have any time at all to respond during that engagement.
Roar like walked right up to the enemy team. Dude, look at this. He's right up there with Frozen. You don't want your carries in front like that.
They know there's a pink ward in that brush too. That was a super awkward play from Incredible Miracle.
That was a puzzling decision.
IM has made some weird decisions this game overall. They have information, but they're not really acting on it. I mean, they knew Chaser was around in that bottom lane when they lost some of those attempted counter ganks as well.
I think maybe they thought whoever they found there, they could hit him with either the Cassiopeia or the Urgot ult and get a pick maybe. Oh, meanwhile, some more action in the mid lane. Apple trying to go in and disrupt the back lines for now. They are going to push back Jin Air for the moment anyway. Tucson trying to get forward. Maybe a bit of a flank. Nope, he has to go around the side. Oh, they dodged the ult. Roar immediately getting wrapped up. Apple trying to get in the back lines. Oh, True Shot Barrage comes through, but a kill for GBM helps out. Roar is still alive. There we go, finally going down. Trace gets hit with the Cassiopeia ultimate. There's a kill finally for Frozen, but double for GBM.
Triple, actually. Oh, no.
I think it was just a double, yeah. Yeah, Pilot got that one.
Pilot shutting it down.
They're going to get the turret as well.
And they're going to get much more than that. Still Baron-empowered minions here, pushing all the way through.
I thought it was a good dodge by Roar of that ult from Chaser, but they were just ready to pick him up immediately with that. And Roar just isn't all that tanky this game. And Jin Air not having any trouble at all bursting him down, it seems like.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten that Frozen Heart yet. He was going for that armor penetration first. He opted to go for the Black Cleaver before he finished the Frozen Heart. So yeah, he's not that tanky, particularly against the magic damage that GBM is dishing out in spades. Another dragon, third of the game for Jin Air, and Chaser going to save that turret in conjunction with the True Shot Barrage from Pilot. Pilot, who's been part of nearly every kill this game so far and yet to die. So this very conservative take on the Cinderhulk meta that Jin Air is playing seems to be working out.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not just playing super defensively as well. They're the ones who've been engaging these fights too. But you know, IM has given them a lot of fights though.
GBM just bought a Soul Stealer.
Yeah.
GBM.
This is GBM. Damn, he was 5-1 and 5. You can't blame the guy. Why not? But yeah, I feel like IM has really kind of given Jin Air a lot of really good opportunities this game as far as team fights go. They're sort of handing themselves to Jin Air on a silver platter with some of their positioning.
I think they're just trying to be overly tricky. That's...
Oh, Apple, can they get a kill here? More true shot barrage damage coming through as Apple tries to stay alive. Looks like it might be enough. Ooh, Trace, or Tucson rather, tries to come in, but gets knocked back immediately by that Emperor's Divide. He tried to get in behind GBM, but it just didn't work at all. And it just seems like everything IM tries to do is not working this game.
I like how aggressively Jin Air is closing this out, though. They have the tankiness to go ahead and dive these turrets. Chaser finally looking more confident on a Cinderhulk jungler instead of simply running away from the team fights like he was, unfortunately, in the second round robin there.
Oh, they're going to get the inhibitor, and they're going to get the bottom tier 2 turret as well. So that was what, like 3 turrets and an inhibitor out of that?
Yeah, and IM, to recap this game, I mean, a little bit, they were actually doing quite well during that laning phase. Of course, all of their lanes ahead in farm, but it was some weird decisions on when to all in, and I think attempting to bait Jin Air in without the immediate response from the jungle, or ignoring the fact that they knew where Chaser was and still just trying to win some of these skirmishes, and it just didn't work out for them.
I think you said it well when you said they're being a little bit too tricky for their own good. You know, if they had sort of continued to play the straight-up game that had gotten them sort of that little edge in terms of CS, you'd think they could have probably at least stayed much closer.
Yeah. I agree, and they were trying to react to what Chaser was doing instead of putting down pressure with Tucson.
Yeah.
And now that we're in the late game and there's a 0-4-1 Lee Sin in the Cinderhulk meta with a Warrior enchant, I mean, he's just going to die.
It's not good. Whoa, Tucson getting over the wall with that safeguard, and Pilot can't quite pick up the kill.
There's basically nothing he can do.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And full tank Hecarim here. There's simply insufficient damage from Incredible Miracle to actually take out the Hecarim at this point in time. I mean, he's got Warmog's Frozen Heart and Spirit.
Oh, grab on the Chaser. I am trying to make a play here, but here comes Sweet. Get that headbutt pulverized to try to keep things safe. They did get the kill on the Chaser, though. So a little win for IM as they try to defend their base.
Trace still pushing up in that mid lane. Bit awkward for a Chaser to be so far forward, but nice pick from Incredible Miracle. Now, can they actually hold on to this turret? They've sent Maokai back to deal with these super minions, but I don't think he's going to be enough by himself.
Yeah, it's unclear. Let's see just how well IM's going to be able to stop Jin Air from coming in here. The 4v5 is not a problem for Jin Air right now.
No, they have so much zone control as well. You see these Sand Soldiers still just keeping people from defending the turret or defending these minion waves. Now, Maokai was able to take out enough of these super minions to contain the threat onto the bottom tower, at least for now. Chaser back up, but a long, long way from being part of this fight. Pilot just trying to poke as best he can with the Mystic shots.
And it seems to be enough. You know, they're whittling down the turret. It's a little bit under half health right now. I am really in dire straits at the moment. Some objectives coming up pretty soon, so we'll see how aggressively Jin Air wants to push this. They could just easily back off. Pilot dancing. It's easy to dance in the back lines like that, Pilot. Dance on the front lines and then see how things go. There we go. There's the turret. Oh, nice knockup by Sweet yet again, and man, all the damage coming through means that it's going to be a quick fight for Jin Air as they take out IM. Another double kill coming in for Gank by Mom. And they're going to push them all the way back to Fountain. Yeah, Roar and Ignar. I've never seen an Urgot get blown up as fast as I have this game. It's really been something else. Apple trying to get back onto Jin Air, but I just don't know what it's going to accomplish here. Emperor's Divide. GBM getting around to push them back away from the Fountain. And pretty much an ace. I mean, Apple's still up, but it doesn't matter. The Nexus going down. Pilot wants that ace. Maokai's fairly tanky. Oh, Mystic Shot dodge. Twist advance comes in. He gets the heal. Oh, and the game ends before Pilot gets it. Jin Air. I bet exciting because you know it's going to get through.
I hope this is a trend that we're going to see. Now everybody just bans Bard against Jin Air. We never know why.
I think it's because Sweet is an amazing Bard player, which we really have not seen yet in League of Legends, I feel. So hopefully we get to see it sometime. We'll see a Zero ban.
So very different bans this time around. Sejuani taken out by IM. They may be trying to first pick the Gragas in this game if they want to remove it, considering they banned Gragas on the red side in the last one. So thinking about their last ban right here. So there's a lot of choices left for Jin Air. Of course, they could leave that Gnar up, take it in the first round of the draft. There's an Alistar ban against Sweet. 2 support bans.
Yeah, pretty interesting stuff. I mean, the Alistar, he was very good on last game, but the Bard intrigues me, Monty. And there is the LeBlanc ban. So, will we see perhaps the first pick Hecarim or Maokai? Well, or Gnar, for instance. Gnar is available.
I think Gnar is actually the better first pick here because you have both Gragas and Rek'Sai still up, so you have some options in terms of your junglers. So first picking a jungler isn't going to be that attractive.
Well, Apple's Gnar is extremely good. It was ban-worthy in game number 1, but not game 2.
Good think about the Thresh here as well. That's the other thing that I think is probably running through their minds. Cassiopeia.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
All right. Interesting. So we'll see what Jin Air takes in response, but putting the priority on getting Frozen a champion he's comfortable on. Now, it didn't work out for them last game.
Instantly locking in the Gragas as well. And now there's no Azir because it was banned by Jin Air, even though GBM did fall behind just a little bit in terms of farm. GBM really performing well on that Azir overall. So where is GBM going to go with this, I wonder? And will they take the, maybe take the Sivir here instead? Just waiting to see what that top lane pickup's going to be. So Sivir for Pilot.
Thresh Gnar this time around, I would think.
I think they'll definitely take the Thresh. And then from there, whether they want to show their hand, they may want to try and see a solo lane before they take the Gnar itself.
Sure.
And instead they could just pick their duo right now. They could play something like, or they could take the jungle. Okay.
All right. Yeah, Rek'Sai. All right. And you would imagine that Thresh is going to get locked in for Ignar, but we'll see.
Yeah, almost certainly. They just want to make sure that they can get some lane counter picks here in the end. So take the Rek'Sai right now. Wait to see what Jin Air is going to do in terms of one solo lane and their duo lane. GBM could play AP Kog'Maw here into the Cassiopeia. I don't think he's going to play New Rise. That would be really surprising.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, boy. Begins again. Yeah, they may actually just want to leave the mid pick to last, huh?
Yeah, they definitely should leave the mid pick to last on the red side and play something that's safe. I mean, if you take the Xerath now, there's so much kill pressure. I mean, Rek'Sai and Thresh roaming into the mid lane would be very dangerous for a Xerath, even though GBM is a really good Xerath player.
He is an extremely talented Xerath player, but
there we go.
It's safer to pick that top lane,
For the Rumble.
Yeah, so maybe a Jinx for Roar.
Rumble and Janna, so more defensive-oriented support.
Yeah.
Looking for that peel this time around. Nice solid mid-game setup from Jin Air with the Sivir and the Rumble and Gragas. So they may want to get something that has a bit more carry potential in the late game if necessary for Jin Air. And there is a Kassadin coming in. That's a top Kassadin.
Or is it a top Cassiopeia?
Fair enough.
We've seen it before. Not in Korea, but by a Korean.
Still, blind picking the Kassadin would be a little bit risky, but it could be a flex pick. Both players may be able to play that Kassadin, and it will be Corki into this Sivir.
Whoa! Yasuo locked in immediately for GBM. Seriously. Okay, then.
Well, Yasuo hasn't been working out so well in Cinder Hulk or even pre-Cinder Hulk. We've seen it a couple times, of course.
So
Impulse. Xiao Wei Xiao likes to play that Yasuo. It was pretty bad. We saw that Yasuo coming in at at IEM from the GE Tigers. It was pretty bad.
That didn't work out
We've
at all.
seen it in
Kuro,
China as well. It was also pretty bad. So I'm waiting for the time that this Yasuo actually makes sense. Now they have a lot of knockups. They have Monsoon and the explosive cast to set up. And they could get a pretty nasty wombo combo off of it. But as for how this is going to work in the mid lane, so it will be top Kassadin. Well, this is weird.
Yeah, this is not what we were expecting, but
Now,
hey, Jin Air needs to show us new stuff, so this is fine.
Top Kassadin has been a thing for a while. I wonder how it's going to be built. Of course, with that Rumble, you can trade really effectively because as he comes into Flamespitter you just Q him and then you have a shield and you win the trade.
Yeah.
So it does make sense, even though it is vulnerable pre-6 in that long lane. Now, previously we've seen it's probably going to be an AP build. I assume it's just going to be Rod as per normal, and we're not going to see any kind of weird Trinity Force top Kassadin shenanigans like we used to. Since the rework, you really do need that Rod to build AP. So.
All right, well, can IM tie it up, or does Jin Air get the 2-0? Let's get in the game and find out. And here we go. Welcome to game number 2 of IM versus Jin Air Green Wings. And IM still with the rabid fan base. They're all Frozen fans, come on.
Well, this is an interesting pick into Cassiopeia because if you could win wall the Twin Fangs, it does kill some of her, or a significant amount rather, of her damage output. Also, IM has to be very careful because they have a ton of magic damage on this team. And so Locket and MR are going to be highly efficient when itemized by Jin Air. Oh, this is wacky. GBM actually starting with the Doran's shield as well for that little bit extra sustain.
Hasn't selected his skill yet.
I think this is pretty bad, but it may work.
You never know. I mean, GBM has always had, well, not always, but as far as one season ago, he's had a very robust champion pool.
I mean, Windwall is really good against IM's composition. You're going to be able to block Twin Fangs. You're going to be able to block Corky missiles.
True.
So you will be cutting a lot of that damage just with the one ability. I just don't know exactly what Yasuo is going to do here. Now, their composition is pretty squishy. They're lacking a big tank. So if he can get onto the back lines, maybe he can assassinate that Cassiopeia before she can really do anything at all. Also, Windwall should block the Petrifying Gaze as well. Interesting. It's going to come down, I think, to how well GBM can use that Windwall to see how effective he is.
And does it actually block the Petrifying Gaze?
I believe it does.
Wow. I guess I haven't seen it in action.
I'm not sure on that one, but I think it does.
Be interesting.
I'm sure we're going to find out this game, though, if it does, in fact, block it. And his passive good in late against Cassiopeia as well, because you're going to be able to not take quite so much damage off of the dots that Cassiopeia is putting down if you do get hit by one. So it's definitely interesting. I have a feeling this was picked for lane and maybe not for overall team composition. But
I think it was picked for intimidation factor. GBM throwing something at you you're not expecting.
Level
maybe
2
early,
gank here.
Yeah, early action from Chaser here. Decides not to do it. Oh, but then Pilot gets engaged on. Nice whirlwind response, and here comes Chaser now. Pilot trying to bait people back. Can they get inside? Oh, he tried to flash, but Roar flashed out of it. So Summoners used on both sides. But Roar without that flash now, whereas Pilot only needed to burn the Summoner heal.
Yeah, Pilot, I think, messed up with his spell shield a little bit right there, too, actually having that hook land on him. So very favorable trade for Incredible Miracle. But in the end, actually, the heal for the flash going to be pretty good for Jin Air. A little bit of time lost in the jungle for Chaser. Chaser just going to go ahead and take the crab so that his dual lane has a little bit more protection as Tucson makes his way down to the bottom side of the map.
Yep, and Chaser without that flash for a little while is the biggest steal in the world.
Certainly isn't. So no one actually, you know, normally in a game like this where we would have a Kassadin versus a Rumble in the top lane, you'd see a lot more pressure on top considering that both these champions very easily ganked, but not this game. A little bit of mind games right there, coming in for the level 2 gank on the more mobile bottom lane.
GBM for now, pushing up Apple, but there we go. Twin Fangs blocked by that wind wall.
That's the thing, is if you get hit by the poison, you're going to nullify it with your passive shield, and then if Cassiopeia comes in with the Twin Fangs, you can just take that away with the wind wall. So it is really hard to be a bully with this Cassiopeia against the Yasuo in lane. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's not a matchup we really see much at all, ever.
Well, Yasuo and Cassiopeia have never actually been in the meta at the same time together.
They still really aren't, but GBM's playing Yasuo anyway right now.
He's making it work. He's going back to his off-meta pick roots, Doa.
GBM's got his own meta, but, you know, I feel like Orianna could work pretty well right now, but we just don't really see people pick it up.
Orianna would definitely work very well against this Cassiopeia. Now, why you would play Yasuo instead of Orianna, I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, Orianna's like the GBM specialty, so
whatever,
whatever GBM.
The champion that he was known for coming into the competitive scene.
It was like the only champion he was good on for a full 2 years almost, you know?
He was good on Zed, too.
Okay, all right. He did have some good Zed games, but it was mostly Orianna, and now he's got a good chance to pick it.
Yep, absolutely. That's a very good point, Doa. Orianna definitely fine.
I'm a bit surprised. I'll have to criticize him in person later. No, I wouldn't do that.
Yes, you would.
Not unless he asked me.
Asked you to criticize him?
Yeah.
Please.
Please.
Dump all over my picks.
He just asked for, you know, advice. Yeah, I'm like, well, what do you think is good right now, Doa? I'm like, Orianna. He's like, oh, I played that so much already. But yeah, man, it's good. He's like, how about Yasuo? And I'm like, I don't know. Picks it anyway.
That was a little bit of a risky counter jungle attempt right there by Chaser, considering that Yasuo wasn't even in lane right there, and he could have been collapsed on even with the wards that he had. So Trace doing much better in lane this time around. Trying to push out this Kassadin, but no moves onto the top side of the map yet, and Kassadin is level 6 right now, or nearly is level 6, yeah, just hit it.
No jungle presence at all in the top part of the map. It's all been oriented around the mid and bot, mostly bot, bizarrely enough. The GBM keeping up in CS admirably with a little bit of a lead there.
Giving
teamwork.
Teamwork jungling right there.
That's right.
Go ahead, help him out with a little tornado over the wall. And now pink ward into the river for GBM. Tucson looking for a gank on the bottom side.
You gotta be careful with that. Roar still doesn't have flash up. Yeah, that was a waste of bullets, Corky.
Corky wastes so many bullets, man.
Seriously. If there was like an accuracy rating at the end of games, which there totally should be for skill shots, Corky would be down at the bottom.
That would be a fun statistic to see in terms of
skill shot accuracy. Yeah, right. Get on that. I want to see that. That'd be very cool. Can prove once and for all who's the best in hooking.
Yeah, you could track it independently by ability too. So like Q skill shot accuracy.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
It would be. We have the best ideas.
More fun than these long farm games. Wow, nice trade there from GBM.
Yeah. All farms, or Frozen rather, is going to be handed the blue buff.
Chaser just going ahead and taking his.
Hey, well, I mean, Yasuo doesn't really need it, I suppose.
Nope, not very much. So we'll just help Chaser a little bit clear that much faster. Saber from both of our junglers this game. That really says that we're both teams really just wanting to farm right now, not trying to make plays on the lane.
Oh, goody.
With a chilling smite or anything like that. So pretty much just gonna maintain the status quo for a little bit. Trace, it's like he will be going for that Abyssal Scepter first. I think that's definitely the best buy in this situation because it does so much work not only in lane but also pretty much in any kind of team fight that you're going to be seeing right here. Well, and Tucson also going for the Cinderhulk. That's just more magic damage in this situation. So Jin Air, I think they can play this calmly, get a lock-in early on into this game, and then there's just nothing that IM's going to be able to do in terms of late game damage.
Yeah, the itemization as far as defensive things to buy for Jin Air is pretty easy to figure out. Just grab MR. Not too tough. So do you feel like IM kind of had a bit of a bad draft again with this?
It depends. I don't know what this Kassadin is supposed to be doing. So they definitely have a lot of damage. It's their comp is on a timing window, right? They're up against the MR stacking of Jin Air. If they can make a play and start just bursting people down with Cassiopeia and Kassadin, it could work. But they're going to have a gold lead, and they need to make sure that they use some of these team fights to get onto the back line very efficiently. But that said, Spell Shield on Sivir and then an Abyssal on Rumble. Who exactly are they going to burst down right here? GBM is going to be ulting them during that timing window where they want to be bursting. So
true.
I think it's going to be hard.
Yeah, Jin Air has a lot of good counter engage, I suppose.
Yeah, they can reset the fight too with Janna. So
yep.
Kassadin gets in that back line. He's going to be pushed out pretty rapidly.
Well, Tucson trying to come in for a bit of a lane gank here. There's a ward in that brush, though, so Jin Air probably isn't going to be too vulnerable to this.
Yeah, Ping's going down into that brush as well, so it seems like he knows that they have vision of the area, and they should, because considering there's one hit point of the ward removed already, so they attacked it.
Oh, that's true. They know it's
when
there.
It was being placed.
Yeah.
So Tucson trying to be patient as this wave moves back out. I'm not sure they can really do anything about this, though. Sweet has Monsoon, so it'd be really hard to actually make this gank effective.
Yeah. Meanwhile, down in mid lane, something might be effective if Chaser comes in. They're going to try. Oh, flash with a knock-up, and there's that last breath. Oh, but the explosive cast misses. Well, it was close. That would have been a really sick gank, but
that was a nice
shot.
flash body slam to hit the knock-up for GBM to actually ult in on.
Yeah.
And they tried to predict the flash too, but Frozen flashed to the side instead of backwards. Otherwise, he may have been hit by that explosive cast and knocked right back in. So good attempt. They're going to get a tower for it at the very least, so that's a pretty big bonus right there. Early mid-tower down in favor of the Jin Air Green Wings. So Yasuo pick actually working out just in terms of bullying this Cassiopeia out of lane.
Yeah, Trace spent some time down in the enemy jungle as well too, just making sure everything was safe. Walked through a ward or two, but it really prevented any sort of counterattacks from IM.
Here's the Shiv finished, first major item for Yasuo, getting the crit cloak as well, so it looks like he's planning on building into an Infinity Edge next. So that's not going to be very useful for split pushing, but of course, it's always that question, are we going to see the Yasuo in terms of will he be split pushing with a blade or just going for that big ult on the back line? And the answer is this is going to be a Yasuo that groups up as 5 and tries to just wombo you.
This seems like Jin Air really doesn't want to give any dragons to IM this game. Seems like they want to try to force some fights. Just get GBM fed. Meanwhile, a bit of a fight down at bot lane. Ooh, wow, Sweet getting a bit low. Manages to make it out. Slightly low mana now for Roar as well, too.
Had to burn his Monsoon and the Flash, though. This could be a good dragon timing for IM, and they're going to try and take the Scuttler. There is a ward about to expire, and they're not going to take that opportunity, especially with mid still pushed in that deep.
That might be a bit challenging.
Well, they've got a long way to scale, though, with this Kassadin still not completing his rod yet. Will be finished quite shortly, but Rod and Tier, this is a composition that takes a really long time to ramp up with Cassiopeia and Kassadin. Yeah, it's going to be very strong, but I have a feeling by the time that they get into their power spike, there's going to be so much MR on the side of Jin Air. I would have much rather have seen a Lucian this game from Roar instead of this Corki.
Oh, that's a good point. Chaser and GBM chasing to the jungle. Looks like they want to take this blue buff. And we may have a bit of a fight here as Apple's coming through. A bit of zoning from Trace to try to keep him out of it. Tucson comes in. There's a nice knock-up last breath onto Apple trying to get away. It's hard to catch a Kassadin, but they may have caught Tucson. Looks like they have. Equalizer goes down and first blood taken by GBM on this Yasuo. It's working so far.
It's an inventive counter pick to Cassiopeia. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Ignar and Frozen still trying to claim this blue buff, but they have to do it very carefully. Yeah, looks like they'll go ahead and get it. And meanwhile, Trace still farming up in that top lane. So, a successful little engage for Jin. They got one pick, they got the blue buff.
Good response from IM, though. Just go ahead, try and solo kill this dragon while you have the opportunity. You know that everyone is on the top side. They have 3 people, so they can easily secure this dragon, but it will cost them their top lane turret in the end. Pilot coming down here just to add a little bit of wave clear. No one in the mid lane right now to catch this wave, but Trace finishing off that turret, getting Jin a nice little lead right now, 2K about. Yep. That's what they're looking for, so we'll see if Chaser going to build into this Aegis as his next item. That should be what he wants.
Seems like it'd be a good idea. Oh, meanwhile, wow, Roar doing a lot of damage to Pilot, but he can't really push up any farther. They don't really know where people are. They're chasing him now. Ignar is right there. They need to be careful. Oh boy. Yep, that was almost a nice grab over the wall there.
Could have gone very interestingly if Rek'Sai tunneled over that wall right there for the 3v2. But back to Jin will back off. And now, just continue rolling through the jungle, eliminating some of these Rek'Sai tunnels as Gragas finds them. And just more farming from Chaser.
Our Pilot hasn't been able to do a ton of damage to this turret yet. So that will slow down Jin a bit. But, you know, again, I feel like Jin has just picked themselves into a team that has time, you know?
Yeah, they definitely have some amount of time right here. And like I said, I would definitely hand this to IM composition in the late game if it wasn't a Corki that they were playing.
Let's see. Oh, well, Trace getting very low, but Apple getting baited in. There's the last breath again. Oh, Apple went way too far for that one, and Jin punishing.
That was a cute bait by Trace right there. Not even blowing his flash or his ult in that situation. Very confident that his team was there to back him up. And just great synergy. I mean, something we've seen this game is Chaser and GBM are really working well together to set up these Yasuo ultimates. It doesn't look... It looks like there's something they've highly practiced right now. 2 crit cloaks. You only want one of those, GBM. Pickaxe instead. No, he's going to go for the boots and have quite enough money, it looks like.
It's the king of getting 2 of something.
Yes, actually.
Yep, we've seen this a lot.
Double void staffs, just like tons of weird doubled up items, but this time remembers that he already picked up that crit cloak and just returns it to the store before grabbing the boots and upgrading his trinket instead. So
the APM is too high, man. He's clicking too fast.
Awkward situation for Cassiopeia as well, because had to go tier arm guard, so it will be a Zhonya's Hourglass first, but that's not exactly ideal to cope with the damage that Trace is putting down as well. And yeah, just a long time before this comp is going to come online. Chaser going for the Sightstone after his Cinder Hulk, understandable, but with the Sightstone and 2 upgraded war trinkets already, they're going to have great opportunities to continue to create picks on the map and push forward now that they have this early turret advantage.
Jin playing this out really cleanly, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to respect Jin. I may not like the Yasuo pick or think that it's ideal when they could have just picked Orianna instead, like you're saying, but they showed that they have like an ace up their sleeve right here. Oh. And certainly they're playing it out mechanically quite well.
Yeah. Well, GBM is going to find Tucson trying to take out this pink ward. Frozen's right there as well. Trace and Chase are coming down. They need to be careful. And yeah, Frozen and Tucson just backing off, not wanting to fight this one. Can't really blame them. That static shift's really giving GBM some really good wave clear as well too. So Frozen not even able to push the lane he's in.
Yeah, that's something that Jin is doing really well, is just keeping the pressure up in the mid and top lane. Roar holding his own, obviously nice CS lead for him down there. GBM now.
Oh, could be a bit of a dive. Sweet coming in. Will he be able to get the knockup? There's a Monsoon right in the last breath. Valkyrie away, the teleport coming in. Roar already dead. Apple not able to do anything about that. Chaser finds Tucson in the jungle here. Frozen coming back along with Ignar from behind, but Jin is already out. Oh, meanwhile, Ignar.
Oops.
Oh, that was not the direction you want to send him, but whatever.
So, yeah.
Nice try.
Explosive Cask and Equalizer dropped at the same time, so not going to be able to finish off Ignar.
The anti-Wombo combo.
I mean, Jin Air's setting up these last breaths so well. They're using the Monsoon right there, right after the On the Hunt comes in from Sivir to allow GBM to have the drop. So, I mean, I'm impressed with this Yasuo play.
Yeah.
They're coordinating around GBM very well as an entire team to pick up kills in the side lane, and he now has a pretty substantial advantage. Farm lead, got that turret, now a couple of kills. It's all going really, really well for this Yasuo.
He's probably really close to that Infinity Edge, too.
Oh, yeah, he has it, I'm sure.
Yeah. And that'll just make him even scarier in those skirmishes that we've seen him be good at so far this game.
I like going for Bloodthirster first. Very unconventional build on Sivir, but allows for a little bit more forward play and sustain so he can keep on pushing and hopefully someday get that turret in the bottom side. Apple now starting to collect some CS.
I suppose when you're kind of on your own too, you need that little bit of extra safety if you're going to be in that solo lane as an AD carry.
Yeah, I think they just want to just continue to push the wave up as well, and it helps deal with some of the Corki poke that was annoying Sivir earlier on in this game.
Well, GBM starting to get a nice CS lead over Frozen in the mid lane, able to wander around and take a lot of that free farm. You can tell they really have kind of built this around GBM's Yasuo. They're giving him all this farm, they're setting up all these kills for him, and so far it's really working out. Yep, there's the Infinity Edge picked up, holding onto that Doran shield for dear life too.
Well, he has enough. I mean, he already upgraded his totem for the extra wards as well, so there's not really a need to sell it at the moment.
Yeah.
Because he's able to get a ton of vision down, got himself a big ward as well, has that extra slot. So
this would be Jin Air's first dragon of the game, but it's only the second dragon overall taken. We'll see if they can grab it. I am trying to get in position to stop this.
Lane. There's nothing really they can do about this.
Not really. Oh, this is going to come in and try to steal it. Gets locked up. There's the last breath immediately. Dragon still alive, though. Doesn't get out. A kill for Tracer. And there's the dragon as well. Oh, flash over the wall. They get onto Ignar with that equalizer. Man.
Very decisive play over the wall from Trace as they drop that and take him out. Roar's going to get a turret for his trouble, but 2 kills and a dragon in exchange for a turret. Not the kind of trade you want to make right now if you are Incredible Miracle.
Well, I think Jin Air's going to get more than just that, too. They're going to get at least that bottom turret, and they may even get the tier 2 out of this, I think.
Yeah, Chaser just continuing to cause problems, is building into that Aegis of the Legion right now, so there's really not even a way that IM can damage this Jin Air team. Great itemization, I feel, from Jin Air so far. Wouldn't surprise me if GBM even went into a Hex Drinker as his next item.
Yeah, certainly could. They even gave him the red buff. They really, really want this Yasuo to carry.
There it is. Aegis done. That's probably means this game is over.
Static Shiv finished for Pilot too, so he can still be in one of those side lanes and push things up if they need him to. GBM. Looks like they'll chase Tucson away from Baron, and it's time to get some wards down.
Well, I'm sad, Doa, that IM didn't put up more of a fight this evening. I thought this was going to be a really close set, but Jin Air at least looks a lot better than they did at the end of spring.
Yeah, so what we're seeing today is kind of the better teams that looked pretty good at the end of last season. You know, Jin Air slumped a little bit, but overall those teams have improved in the offseason. And even though IM is having problems this game, they still look better than they did last season. It didn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot for that to be true, but it's true.
Yes. Well, I think that they had some hiccups in their draft today, and these are things that can be rectified in the future. So I think the fundamentals are much stronger on IM at the very least, especially what we saw in Game 1. They'll have some good games this season, I'm sure. But now a QSS onto GBM, so that is pretty much solely to deal with Petrifying Gaze. Interesting choice.
Yep. Oh, Apple comes over the wall, but he just doesn't seem to have a lot of damage right now. Tucson, oh, he flashed, and he got the well, was that a challenging smite
There's
onto
no
Sweet.
way
Okay,
you should flash in that situation because Sweet had Monsoon and flash up himself. You're not going to be able to secure that kill regardless.
Well, it's like Tucson forgot that he didn't have chilling smite too, because he used challenging smite on Janna. I don't think that's the ideal use of that ability.
GBM going to start split pushing a little bit right here. Throws out a tornado, but backs off.
I mean, you
as
do
he
reduce.
sees that Thresh coming through.
You do reduce 20% of Janna's damage. You know, so
get some true damage down as well.
Yeah, it's true. Just saying. Janna's a little bit less strong. Apple in a little bit of trouble. They miss him with the whirlwind. He's going to get back. Or will he? Gets out on the lantern. After the equalizer was used by Trace. Meanwhile, the split push at the bottom going on. GVM versus Roar down there.
The Roarky.
Roarky. It's true. It's a good one.
I'm not a fan of the Roarky.
Roarky.
Especially with the way the draft went, they picked Corki and cast it in the last round of their draft on blue side. Could have easily picked a counter matchup to Sivir in Lucian and gone for that instead.
Certainly issues in drafting. That's for sure. And so we've reached that point in the game where Jin Air can kind of play this out casually and safely.
Yep. All they have to do is just continue to stack that MR. GBM going for the MR early with that QSS. I think that's a nice buy. He doesn't have to buy any kind of armor penetration yet, really. There's another arm guard coming in for Apple, but that said, it's not very critical that they go for that, considering the targets are pretty squishy anyway, even with that armor. Not a lot of HP to back it up. And he'll be just fine. Goes for Merc Treads as well. And Pilot working towards the last Whisper all the same. And GBM just keeps on split pushing. Not really anybody who can stop him.
Yeah, pretty much.
I really like how Genera just kept the lanes pushed this entire game. It's been unrelenting minion pressure for them. Even after they got that mid turret down, they haven't let up hardly at all.
Wow, and it looks like he's going to get this turret too. Roar going up really far, but they've got a Gragas coming from behind. This seems a bit dangerous. Oh, no, never mind. Chaser changed his mind. Probably could have come in for a flank there.
GBM doesn't have a lot of lifesteal, though. In fact, doesn't have any at all. So he needs to be a little bit more careful about those kind of trades. Can't go too aggressively onto the turret.
You don't need lifesteal if you quickly steal their life.
Wise words from Noah.
Yep. That's right. Well, Tucson gets knocked up. Chaser tries to do something. Gets hit with that death sentence. GBM coming in. There's the last breath on the Roar. Roar Valkyrie's away. GBM, I don't think that's the place you want to chase there. Nope. GBM still alive for now. Oh, finally goes down. Apple with the kill there. Trace in a bit of trouble. And that was not the most ideal fight for Jin Air. But they get the mid lane tier 2. So all's well that ends well, I guess.
Yeah, no 80 carry there at all. Really kind of questionable attempt at a dive against a Corki that's still at his flash up. The danger here is that IM can do Baron.
Yes, they can.
And Chaser doesn't have a lot of HP, so they're going to try and take a stab at it. It is one of the only ways they can come back in this game right now, but it's a great call.
We need a Pilot to have one of those amazing space Sivir moments right now.
Oh, they're doing this Baron really fast. There's not anything Jin Air can do to stop this.
Steal it with Whirlwind. Oh, too late. Sweet lost his opportunity to be hero. Well, Dragon's up, so they can at least get that, get the second Dragon. And all this means, Monty, is that Jin Air will just be even safer and even more methodical.
All right, GBM's going to go for GA now as his next item, it would appear. Getting that chain vest in.
All right.
Let's take a look at this. So Chaser gets grabbed right here. GBM thinks he has an angle. There's the cast. Roar gets ulted. But GBM attempting to go through the box and then flashing out and taking an enormous amount of damage. Meanwhile, Trace doesn't drop his ultimate before he gets hooked, and so just gets burned down in the end in that 4v5. Really sloppy play from Jin Air. Now costs them a Baron, and it's going to delay their ability to close out this game, and it gives IM a chance to actually scale here. They are still going to be scary, especially if Apple gets the Chalice next, because he's going to have so much mana refresh off of kills and assists.
True enough. Looks like they might get this bot lane turret now. Certainly will with the Baron buff.
It's a big, big swing for IM. They're clawing back into this game in terms of gold.
True enough.
So,
let's see if they can find anyone.
Locket's completed now as well. And if Pilot also gets a QSS, they're going to have so much magic resist, even against this high damage team.
Oh, Whirlwind coming through. They get the knock up on the Roar, but no, no GBM there for the last breath or anything.
Looks like Janair happy just to give up this mid lane turret. Oh, they have some wave clear right there. I mean, they have 2 static shivs.
And you'd think they could clear it. Oh, Chaser taking some damage from Apple on the outside of that fight. No one's able to kill that cannon minion. Sivir coming close. Well, Baron, what can you do?
Wait it out. Maybe save your turn. There it goes.
Okay.
Right in time for another wave to show up. There's another hook. Trace going to dodge that one. They finally get the tower down, but that was a big delay from Janair.
Yeah. But Janair's still a little bit ahead here. And once Baron buff runs out for IM, they're going to be right back on the defensive, it seems like.
At least they caught up in terms of that gold deficit, and they got more of a chance to scale with this Cassidon and with this Cassiopeia. So there is a small amount of light at the end of the tunnel now for Incredible Miracle. Still a chance they can come back thanks to that foolish play by Janair on the tier 2 on the bottom side.
Yeah, you really can't be taking chances like that, but we do know Janair, and we know sometimes they get a little bit cocky, especially a certain player in the mid lane.
Last Whisper done for Corki, so they are starting to have more and more physical damage, which is how they really have an opportunity to win this game. I mean, Roar has to come up big with a lot of auto attacks. They're going to come through in this one.
Sure enough. Seems like the poke isn't really going to do a whole lot for Corki at this point.
I don't know why Janair is trying to fight over vision right now around the Baron with so long left on that timer. They're trying to push back the ward line just so IM doesn't have as much comfort moving past the river. But Baron's down for them now. So Janair managed to make it through, only losing a couple of towers. But still, IM pulling back within under 2K gold in terms of that advantage. And GBM is right back to split pushing.
Yep. Ideally, this hasn't tilted Janair too much. We've seen it happen when people pick Yasuo in the past. Gotta watch out.
Gotta watch out for the self-Yasuo tilt.
The Yasuo tilt is real. Just ask Kuro.
Tilt yourself with it.
Yep. That's the idea.
Not a great strategy. There's the GA done for GBM now. The ultimate in Yasuo defense. Huge amount of MR. I don't know why you would build the chain vest first in this circumstance, though. Definitely not the best core component to start off your build with, but he has 147 MR on Yasuo at this point. Going to be very, very difficult for Incredible Miracle to take down.
Yeah, and that'll be one of the really nice things about going into team fights against champions like Cassiopeia and stuff too, is that you need to be a little bit more tanky, I think, for situations like that. Unless you just kill him right away.
Well, it's going to be hard with Zhonya's and a Seraph's Embrace, so I think it makes sense to go ahead and get the GA right here.
Oh, a hook on the sweet, but no follow-up. Could have been devastating with Dragon coming up in about 30 seconds, but not enough IM members around to make a play out of it.
Dragon's very late this game as well. The fact that we're only going to Dragon number 4 here at nearly 34 minutes into this game.
Nope. Oh, found him. Tremor sense. Oh, hi.
Nice, actually took down all the wards very quickly, and Pink Ward doing his job. Oh.
Ooh. Aurora's starting to poke a bit with these Corki missiles. And Dragon is up. So Jin rotating back again. They may have to fight this. We'll see. I am pushing ahead. Jin has that Dragon activated. There's a nice knock-up. They're not going to go after it. They want the Dragon instead. They will get it. Tucson tried to steal it again. Oh, now they're going to go in after him. They pulled Tucson out on the Lantern. And Jin, do they pursue? Chase. Oh, man, everybody gets out of it. Oh, but actually GBM gets in. Manages to get that last breath off. A big heal comes in from Sweet as well. But I am getting out of it pretty smoothly. Apple comes in. Oh, taken out right after the Zonias. But a kill onto GBM from Frozen means that Jin is on the run a little bit. Maybe didn't want to engage on that one. A flash from Frozen, but he can't finish off Trace just yet. Oh, Pilot, though. He sees Tucson.
Wow, there's Pink Ward in the brush right there, noticing Tucson. Tucson has to hop out of his tunnel. They're going for another Baron, actually, potentially. They can do that Baron very quickly with the Cassiopeia. Wouldn't blame them at all to take it. Trace does have his TP up, but there's a target. He's got a TP over.
Yeah, Chaser and Pilot coming in as well, too. Oh, no, they turned around, so now it's only Trace. What in the world? That must have been a bit of a miscommunication because Chaser and Pilot were there and then went away. Okay, things are getting interesting now. Trace running. Finally, Pilot and Chaser showing up. The death sentence misses. That was a very weird series of events there for both teams.
And they have to deal with this huge wave in the top side as well. Trace actually just going to recall. GBM will take out the wave, so quick TP back in, not going to commit to that Baron at all. And you know, this is one of the reasons why Yasuo just isn't great. I mean, GBM got an ult off onto Tucson and Ignar in that fight, immediately died, rezzed, and then immediately died again without doing much of anything. So his damage output pretty darn low.
Yeah.
And he's had to build all these defensive items. And here we go again. GBM coming around the side. Trace showed at the bottom side because the wave control from IM was so good that he had to clear it out.
Yeah, I am a little bit nervous here. Apple over the wall to fight GBM. Roar, they're all chasing him. GBM on the run right now. That's a lot of damage. Ganked by Mom in trouble. There's the Zonias, and that'll mean GBM gets taken out by IM. Oh, boy. And now Jin. Can they defend against this Baron? IM took a bit of damage.
No, IM definitely can't do this Baron anymore. The Equalizer's back up. Pilot has his ultimate available too, and Tucson is way too chunked out to be efficient in this little battle. So,
well, GBM getting out of position lately in a way that we have not seen very often from him.
He did stop that Baron from going down, but there's just nothing he can do as this Yasuo pick because he was trying to duel with the Kassadin, couldn't get the knock-up on Kassadin, and then found himself in a situation where the Zonias was easily able to halt his progress in terms of getting that kill.
Sure enough. I am still sticking around the Baron. It's like they think they still have an opportunity here, maybe. But GBM's back up, like, right now. No. Hard to catch Apple. Jin gets an opportunity to clear out all these wards. Looks like they're going to be able to do it without any issues. Now, does Jin start the Baron?
The endless Baron dance continues.
Right? All right. Jin rotating down in the mid lane now. Looks like they're just going to push for a little while, see if they can force IM to catch up with them. Or just get the lane pushed up anyway.
This Yasuo is just such an unforgiving pick. We saw GBM do a great job of getting an advantage. Fantastic work ganking the side lanes and good synergy with his teammates for getting that last breath off. But if you make that one mistake like he did, playing overly aggressive under the turret, and he gave IM a foothold back into this game, the Yasuo just is a non-presence in these team fights.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it puts a pretty big onus on the rest of his team to do well. And if you're dying that fast with the Yasuo when you have that much MR combined with a locket on your team and you're still going down without doing anything, I'm not sure it's an appropriate pick for this meta.
I think a lot of people would agree with you, but not GBM.
GBM also just going for the Vamp Scepter right now, so maybe almost certainly actually. Well, we'll see if he could go Bloodthirster right here for the extra shield.
Bloodthirster would probably be a good idea. Wow, Jin Air turning onto this Baron. Is this going to work out? Apple and Ignar getting closer. And Jin Air backs off immediately. They were trying to bait something with that. And they caught Tucson. Tucson low, and he gets taken out by Chaser. Jin Air successfully baiting into a pick there. And now they can just keep the pressure up onto this Baron for a little while.
They have to actually start this. The problem is that Void Rush is going to be back up, so they have a very narrow window of time. Just the death timer effectively before they have to deal with this Rek'Sai again. Pilot clearing out the top wave. Sweet actually took a lot of damage from the Baron.
Yeah, and now they're going to go on to it. Okay, so you would think they can kill Baron pretty quick, but it's still such a big pressure from all the poke here. Landry giving vision. They're going to throw Apple in and then pull him out again. And I don't think Jin Air can do this. They're taking too much damage. The Baron getting low. Here we go, Equalizer to try to save it. Baron does get taken by Jin Air. Heels coming in for a sweep, but that's a kill for Apple right off the bat. GBM gets a nice last breath. There's a Zonia Zo. A kill, though, onto Frozen is pretty big for Jin Air. A kill comes in for Corki, though. And Apple goes in to try to assassinate. GBM doesn't quite do it. Now he gets him. Meanwhile, Chaser looking for a bit of revenge. Pilot's still there. Tucson comes in. Roar in the fight as well. Chaser over the wall. Another kill. That's a double now for Apple. And Pilot in big trouble. So they get the Baron, but they get aced. Jin Air just making some really poor decisions this game.
Well, and if you go in on the Baron like that, you're getting so much MR shred against you against a Kassadin.
Defeats the purpose of what you're building.
And a Cassiopeia in the late game. So a lot of that MR not going to be very useful right there. And they try and just burst this one down. GBM attempts to use the wind wall to cut some of the Baron damage. Frozen comes in, great ultimate, but Chaser able to snag that Baron in the end. GBM gets exhausted during his last breath, so it's not actually doing that much damage. And then he comes back up, and what's he going to do? Walk around in the pit a little bit, and then Apple pops back over. Good rift walking from Apple, actually, just in and out over the pit.
Oh, action down at Dragon right now. Actually, Trace picking up a kill, and IM getting some action, but they're going to throw it away just as fast. So I'm like switching between monitors here. That's a double kill for Trace before he got taken out. Dragon not acquired by IM. So 2 kills right back for Jin Air.
But no Dragon buffs, actually. So Trace teleporting in to make that pickup, and now they actually are going to be able to get Dragon number 4. If Jin Air can win this game, maybe they could do it just by forcing enough Dragons and having like that 5-stack. So that's going to be it.
Well, I mean, as far as what they lost from that ace, it amounted to not much. They didn't lose their inhibitor turret or anything like that. They came back right away, got 2 kills, got Dragon. So, you know, IM getting the edge and then immediately losing it again. This game. This game, guys.
Yeah, this game.
Yeah. Monty, when you play the game of throws, you win or you die. And sometimes you win and then die and then win and then die. But eventually somebody dies and somebody wins. It's the game of throws.
It's true.
Yep.
Certainly not one of the cleaner games we've seen in this very young season.
Not really. Well, a couple QSSs now on Jin Air. Pilot has one as well.
Everybody gets to have MR.
Yep, unless they do a really long Baron and lose it all.
And there's the Spirit Visage for Chaser too, so we're really going with all the MR this game, as you would expect. Rylai's there as well for Trace.
So you would think Jin Air should still be able to win this.
Oh, they can. It's just going to be slow, Don.
Of course.
I mean, they basically have to get 5 Dragons at this late stage of the game. Apple has everything a young Kassadin could dream of. The Athenes as the 3rd item now, followed up by a Void Staff. So those Void Staffs, huge pickups right now for Incredible Miracle. That's exactly what they need.
It's true.
To deal with all the MR stacking. And Apple's resets are going to be pretty darn crazy with his stacking up of the Rift Walk and getting that 30% mana back every kill or assist that he grabs. So,
oh, here we go. Chaser trying to make a play. Nice equalizer, but Chaser a little bit caught out here. Apple comes over the wall, a little bit of damage. That's a kill for Roar now. And IM getting the better of that fight. I feel like Jin Air kind of forced that one a bit too far.
Well, Yasuo was also not able to get an ult off during that engagement.
Yeah.
Trace had a nice equalizer, but they weren't all there yet to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And now they have no more Aegis because Gragas is dead. At least they have enough wave clear to probably hold off for the time being.
True. Well, that turret getting very, very low. Tucson trying to come in, doesn't find the knockup. They do get the turret, though. Jin Air trying to save this inhibitor. Might see a bit of a 4v5 here, but...
Without Gragas, there's no way to set up this Yasuo ult, so they're just going to lose the inhib.
Yeah, well, not unless Sweet hits a whirlwind, which he did not. There goes the inhibitor. So, Jin Air looking a bit disjointed in the latter half of this game.
Well, it's just the Yasuo pick. What are you going to do with it now? There's nothing. Yeah. There's nothing to do with the Yasuo.
Split push farm? I don't know.
I think you take almost any other champion that is in the meta right now, and you're able to make some plays with it.
It's very bizarre. Like, even in picks and bans, they just insta-lock it for the last one. They're like, haha, Yasuo.
Fooled you.
Ah.
Yeah, to their credit, like I said, they did use it well early, but there's just, you could see the limitations on this champion.
Definitely. Yeah, because it's a Yasuo with pretty much all the items you could really desire, you know? I mean, maybe he'll get that Mercurial Scimitar out of the Quicksilver Sash at some point, but it's not too helpful. Or all the items don't seem to be doing him a ton of good anyway.
So Baron up in a minute 26. And of course, I am with the Cassiopeia and a Blade of the Ruin King Corki is going to be able to do that in no time flat.
Yep. Well, the last tier 2 for Jin Air. Trying to defend it. The Corki Gatling sound will not go away.
Oh, it's broken.
It's going forever. Oh, great. Is this hell, Monte Cristo?
Corki Gatling, yeah, that bug happens sometimes. A little bit of poke right there. And Tucson trying to split push at the moment. So Jin Air is going to have to give up this tier 2.
Yeah, it looks that way.
As Apple wants to put some more poke damage down. Actually, Jin Air is doing a decent job of defending this, all things considered.
Not bad. All right. Well.
The never-ending Gatling guy.
Does it go away when he dies?
We can only hope, right?
Wait. Oh, no, there it is.
Must be, at least we can switch the camera to the mid lane sometimes to ignore it. Must be very annoying if it's happening to his teammates right now. All right, Baron's going to come up. Baron is live. No wards for Jin Air. They're going to have to get over here and face check a little bit. Already Tucson starting it. They're going to try and two-man this Baron. Chaser's just going to do the Raptors.
Oh, boy. Casually sauntering over. I wonder what's happening in the Baron pit. Let's find out. It's not much. Throw down a ward. Oh, my gosh, they have Baron. There's a knockup from Sweet. Can they get away? Trace coming in with that teleport. Low health onto Tucson. Nice knockup. Nice last breath, actually. But will they be able to follow it up with enough? That's a kill for Pilot. Things looking okay. Apple having to flee the fight right now. 2 for Jin Air after the Baron gets taken out. Roar on his own. And Jin Air. Oh, he's still getting away. But here's Chaser comes in with a flash. Body slam. And that is 3 dead. Baron is just not where you want to be this game, apparently.
Baron is where the throws happen this game, Doa. There's the 5th dragon as well. Jin Air can take out an inhibitor and then turn back onto that one.
Yeah,
Frozen got caught with a beautiful combo between the equalizer. He had to pop his Zonias immediately, and GBM was still on top of him when he came back out of it.
It's a lot of time until they come back. It's still a full 30 seconds. Can they actually end here? Jin Air coming in. And this could be it. The minions are getting Baron buff, though. No, you got to turn around,
You have to turn around.
You got to turn around. They're not turning around, Monty.
The Baron buff is too much, I think, to deal with.
19
so
seconds.
Risky.
They got to do it in 20 seconds. Maybe they can. Last breath onto Ignar. There's 1 damage. They really need to focus on the objectives here. GBM needs to turn around, needs to hit these turrets. Apple trying to be annoying from the outside. And Jin Air looks like they'll be able to just barely finish it off just in time.
Really risky.